excited about this event. It's filled with superstars this year.
Yes, I love this city. By the way, Harshit Bhai, I decided with Amruta at some point that if we ever shifted to Europe to live in Prague, but clearly we did not decide that. We decided to start Chess Base India, which meant we had to live in India then.
Mumbai.
But yeah, this city is so beautiful. It's incredible. They say like every person should visit once Prague in his life, his or her
And the
life.
first
And
move.
D4 here.
The games have begun. Let's see how the first moves have been played.
Yeah.
D4 quickly played by Vincent.
Vincent Keymer has started the game with one d4 and Wei Yi brings out his knight.
Knight.
Meanwhile, Praggnanandhaa on the other board just is not making his move. He's like, I have to meditate here fully.
It's so important to get in the zone, Sagar. By once, you after a long travel, maybe they have some jet lag. It's super important to get in the zone, calm their nerves down, before making the first move. Prague doing just that. We've seen it. We've seen this amongst a lot of Indian players.
Yeah.
They're meditating for a few minutes before the game. Is that something you recommend doing?
Well, I personally think that, by the way, here it's a little bit stuck here, Prague. But in general, I have seen them getting this mind calm. And I'm not so sure if everyone needs to do it. I think everyone has to figure out if it works for them or not. I don't know, Harshit bhai, do you do it or not?
I sometimes do actually. It definitely helps me a lot to just calm because I always feel that the calmer your mind is during the game, the better. And I mean, of course, for me, it's been working out very well to always close my eyes for a few minutes before the game. By the way, Amruta says that's my
Oh.
favorite city.
Amruta is in the chat. Hello, hello, Amruta. We are missing you here in Prague.
Prague.
And also, Harshit bhai being here makes me feel good. So, but yeah, by the way, while we are getting the footages back, you can see the moves have already started coming on the screen. Harshit, if you look at this, we can see that Prague's game is the. Oh, now there are a few moves on the Prague game as well. But some exciting games. Which one do you see, like out of the five, as the most exciting one?
I really want to take a look at Vincent versus Wei Yi because they've gone into a theoretical variation in the Nimzo. So, can we go to that game?
Yeah, we can slowly head over to this game, Vincent versus Wei Yi. So it starts off with d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight to c3.
Bishop before the Nimzo opening.
Yes,
Where
then-
Black is bringing his bishop out on b4, perhaps even potentially capture the knight on c3. And we might ask, why are we trying to give away the bishop pair so easily? Well, it's because to change the pawn structure, and Black usually tries to go for a quick castling.
And also the control of the e4 square, the very central square. So white, Vincent plays queen c2, defending the knight and also defending the central square on e4. And then Black castles it out. And here, Harshit by the main move is a3, questioning the bishop. But here, Vincent goes for the very direct move e4.
Yeah, I mean, and this has been a long going on theoretical battle in the Nimzo with queen c2 e4, where white tries to gain control of the center with pawns on d4 and e4, potentially even go bishop d3, e5 to put pressure on the knight and the pawn on h7. But Wei Yi is like, I'm not going to give you any time to get control, quickly goes d5. This is the best move in the position that he quickly plays e5, knight e4, pinning the knight on c3, a3 played.
a3. I think the main move here is bishop d3, followed by knight coming in here. I think
Exactly.
you strike in the center with c5, but he plays a3 and Harshit, it seems to have. Oh, Wei Yi plays quickly. He takes and pushes his pawn to c5.
Yeah, it seems like both players know what they are doing. You are absolutely right that in this position, bishop to d3 was such. It's like played so many times that I was expecting this move. But I think that Vincent, along with Peter Lecco, definitely has prepared something. Bishop c3, bc3, c5, played by Vincent.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, we'll be getting the video footages very, very soon. Also, we'll be zooming in on our camera. Harshit Bhai has grown a beard now, which wasn't there in Weisenhouse. So clearly, we need to zoom in here. C5. And now, Harshit, do you think that white can win material by pushing the pawn forward? Because here, if the knight goes back, we
H4.
already have the knight trap. So the question to our viewers, our first question for today is,
Black to play.
black to play, what do you do? And by the way, guys, if you or anyone is in and around Prague, you can actually come to the venue here and sit right in front of us and answer these questions.
And watch that would be such a pleasure, like fun actually. It would be very interactive. So would highly recommend everyone in
Harshit
Prague
bhai, if
to
we
come
have
and
like a full house here,
मजा आ जाएगा यार.
तो फिर तो भाई we will have a great time. So guys, a big shout out to all of you. If you are also in India, maybe you can book a flight ticket, come here.
आ जाओ यार, यहाँ पे सब seats are waiting for you. So
Yeah, and we have our first super chat of today. Sagar and Harshit, I agree. It is the most beautiful city, Prague, I have been to. It seems to be a painting of 1800s. Such beautiful buildings with the tiled roofs and the castle. I agree if in Europe, visit this place.
Absolutely. Such a nice super chat. Like, and explaining the city in a very poetic way.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I would go to the Charles Bridge again.
Yeah,
I
the
mean, I
Charles-
have been there maybe 5 times already.
And they also have this astronomical clock, which after every 1 hour, they have like a special thing that they do after every 1 hour.
Yes, these skulls are moving out, and
And there's also a rooster that goes on to make some noise. F3 is a mistake. So many people finding
By
it.
the way, look at this. Everyone in the chat saying Queen H4. We have an amazing chat here. Check. And if you play G3, you
Boom, bam.
take, pawn takes, rook is hanging.
Rook is hanging. That's why Queen to H4 check is a deadly check, Sagar. By the king also cannot really go anywhere because King D1 would have ran into Knight F2 check, forking the rook on H1, which would
That's terrible.
lead to a big material deficit for white. So F3 is not possible right now. However, I do question if the move Bishop D3 is going to be on Vincent's
It's
side.
already played,
Oh,
Harshit Bhai.
wow.
Bishop D3 is on the board, and now Wei Yi is bleeding on the clock. Guys, Wei Yi is thinking he is not prepared, I believe now. Maybe he's out of his prep. And there we have the live cameras incoming. Thanks to our director Saab here, whom we will introduce you very shortly once the cameras are here. We can see Aravindh Chithambaram on our screen.
Wow.
Harshit bhai, how
Let's take a
about
look
looking
that
at
game.
his
Yes,
game?
let's go.
Arvind is playing the local hero
Nguyen.
of Czech, Nguyen Thai Dai 1. Van Nguyen here, he is actually had an amazing tournament at
Vaikanze.
He won
the
it.
challenger section, which means he has qualified for the masters section. Also in this event, playing against Arvind right now, like someone who has been in great form this year. His rating has risen up to 2730.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible to see him play alongside these top players in this event. And this opening is very, very interesting.
Can you tell us a little bit about it, Harshit bhai? Knight F3, D5, G3. They have a very symmetrical setup.
Exactly, and this is known as the Neo Grunfeld, where both players have a very symmetrical position. White goes for C4, trying to bait black into capturing the pawn, because if you take D takes C4, white usually develops his knight on B1 to go to A3, tries to go to C4 and gets a small edge potentially with this pawn on D4 and E2 pawn potentially going on E3 and E4. Instead, Nguyen is like, I want to be very solid against you.
solid.
I am black. I just want to, be solid and make a draw. C6 played. And now Arvind, instead of going for the usual C takes D5 or knight C3, goes for queen to B3, trying to restrict the bishop on C8 from moving out.
Because he's putting pressure here this way as well as this way. And so black plays the move A5.
Yeah, and I think I've seen this move amongst a lot of top players.
You must have prepared this as well, I guess.
Yes, queen b3. Previously, queen b3, queen b6 used to be a very, very common move. But recently, the move a5 has been suggested by the top engines, and Nguyen is one of the best prepared players in the stock.
Yesterday I met Van Nguyen before the opening ceremony, and he asked me, when did you arrive? And I said, in the morning. And I asked him, when did he arrive? And he said, 30 minutes ago.
Oh my
because my house is just 30 minutes away. And I took a car here. I came here. I just kept my luggage, and I'm in the.
He's ready.
Yeah.
He's
and
ready.
It's such a big advantage to be in your hometown and play this. And I think the Prague Festival and the Prague Masters has given Van Nguyen so much of exposure.
Yeah, I think he's one of the two players who has played all 7 editions so far alongside David Navara, which just goes to show the experience that he's gotten from playing in these events. First challengers and now establishing himself as a masters player. After Queen b3 a5, Knight c3, there is a very cool idea here for black. Black can go pawn to a4, Sagar Bhai. It feels like it is a pawn sacrifice, but it is not. If you take, I can now take d takes c4, and the point is that if you take queen takes
Can we
c4,
ask our viewers?
guys, I think this is too easy.
Too easy. Let's see if all of you can reply here. Black to play. What do you do? And while you guys, so quick. Beloglavi Soup, Arnav Agarwal, Mehrab.
Sai, Rishi, people are finding the right moves. They're very alert.
Even
Sagar Bhai.
travel with Nikhil Roshan, who is generally just giving super chats and asking people to subscribe. Today, he
wants to improve. He's ready.
So b5 is the correct move, and it's a pawn fork here on a4 and c4. Fantastic move.
Exactly. I think after queen b3 a5, we got a few more moves.
Yes. He
Aravindh took c takes d5.
Pawn push.
Pawn
Queen
push
ko
first.
bhagao.
First he got this tempo, queen d1, and now I think, okay, he just took back c takes d5. Knight c3, and now.
And asking a very big question to the pawn here. It's hanging. It's attacked twice. How do you defend it? Is the question. Black to play, guys. What would you defend it with, Harshit Bhai? Do you go with your queen, put it here, try to defend? Do you push the pawn forward?
I think queen a5 is what I think is the best move, because it just feels like something I've checked before. And the point being that after bishop d2, it looks very scary that the knight is going to jump and attack my queen. But the thing is that white does not really have very dangerous knight jumps, because if you take knight takes a4, the queen and the rook protect this. And if you take knight takes d5, the queen can take on d5. So I think that queen a5 would be a very good way to protect the pawn on a4. What do you think? Do you think bishop d7 is also possible, or?
Yeah, bishop d7 looks a bit passive, I feel.
You are right.
So maybe
bishop d7
this or this.
Knight will quickly jump into e5, and then look at that. The bishop on g2 suddenly is going to find a lot of strength. G2 by d5 putting pressure. And I do think that queen a5 should be played, but he's thinking.
Yeah, he's thinking here. Van Nguyen seems to be out of his prep at this point of time.
And travel with Nikhil Roshan is back.
Member for 29 months says, hello chat wale dosto, please like the stream. And Harshit Bhai, because people missed you so much, we did not even hit 260,000 2.6 million.
Arey guys, come on,
we
yaar.
are at 259.500 or something. We are just 500 away.
Guys, let's do it in the next 5 minutes. 2.6 million. Maza aa jayega, yaar. What a good start it will be.
Yes.
Shubh start chahiye, Sagar bhai.
Shubh start and a new event, and we are here. Very amazing venue. I never imagined, Harshit Bhai, that we would be sitting in a country far away from home and commentating.
Yeah, and look at the beautiful setup that they've made for us. We have a nice screen, we have cameras.
We have
Amazing.
to show it, maybe make a video later and
Absolutely.
put it maybe on your Instagram so that people can start. Harshit Bhai has reached 10,000 followers on Instagram. Yesterday, on that note, he has put his push-ups video.
Yes.
So, which was very cool. And Harshit Bhai, you were in Hamburg. Can you tell our viewers, what were you doing between Weissenhaus and now? 7 days.
Yes, so between Weissenhaus and this event, I had a gap of 1 week. So I wanted to make the most use of it. So I went to Hamburg to record a course for Chess Base. And I made a course that should come out maybe in a few months, I think. And it's going to be about how to play against most of the openings starting with 1e4. So it will be a beginner's guide for club players and players rated until 1800, which will get a very good understanding of developing an
white.
intuition.
With
Yes,
white,
with
1
white.
e4. Oh.
So I'll cover a lot of things. I cover c5, e5, e6, c6, all the main openings, and I give a basic. I try to develop a basic intuition of where the pieces belong and what the plans are.
Wow.
So,
And also
stay
after
tuned.
doing this, you fell ill also. You recovered also. So quite some action.
Yes, I did realize how important it is to have someone around when you are not feeling well, because I was all alone, Sagar bhai. In Hamburg. Valentine's Day be alone, the Hamburg may be alone. Are.
Guys, the day when Harshit Bhai will stop commentating with us, we will know that he has found some. So right now we can see that one Nguyen. Oh, he's made his move. He's jumped in knight to e4.
Wow.
Oh, he's
Giving up
jumped.
the pawn on a4.
Wow.
This is a very direct move, because knight a4, he's saying perhaps that he wants to go queen a5 and try to. Oh, that's the point, right? If knight takes a4, taking the free pawn, black will jump from d8 to a5, attacking the knight on a4. If you
But
come
I have
back,
b3.
I will just take and I'm winning a pawn. So you have to defend the knight somewhere else. If you go b3, I suspect that black can even perhaps go bishop to d7 now, trying to put pressure on the knight on a4 and then jump knight c3. I wonder if.
Oh, b5.
Yeah, exactly. If after b3, black can even directly push pawn to b5, because if you go knight c5,
No, that's just hanging right
I
there.
take d takes and the g7 bishop will be a monstrous bishop, so you can't really do that.
And also after b3, b5, if knight b2 here, then c3 is waiting for the black knight, and it can get very nasty.
Yeah, I mean, black is down a pawn, but his pieces are excellently placed. And that's a very important theme to know. That sometimes, guys, initiative is worth more than material. And I think in this position, Nguyen with his move knight to e4 is just trying to prove that.
Right, and meanwhile, Harshit Bhai, Arvind is well prepared. It's like Arvind has done his homework, and he goes knight to g5.
Whoa! What is
plays-
happening with these knights, Sagar bhai?
Wow, he jumps ahead with his knight, attacking this knight 3 times, and wow.
I mean, Arvind is definitely the player in form in the year 2025. The way he has been playing so far has been absolutely incredible. Also, if you notice, after knight takes c3, b takes c3, h6, we might ask ourselves where the knight wants to go, knight f3 or knight h3. And I do think knight h3 does have a lot of merit to it, trying to go to f4 and put pressure on the d5 pawn.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, this is such a good idea to put the knight here, attack this, and yeah, fantastic. Knight g5 is the move on the board, and while we get the footages back, guys, it seems like Aravindh Chithambaram is very well prepared against Thai Dai 1. We will see how this game continues. Maybe we can have a look at Prague's game.
Oh no, we have to go to Shankland's game.
Why?
Oh my god, look at that position. Absolutely insane. Can we take a look at that game?
We
What is this, Sagar bhai?
Samuel Shankland is so well prepared, and Ediz Gurel, his opponent, the 16-year-old boy from Turkey, is being put to the ultimate test.
Absolutely, against someone who has played this event previously and even won this event.
Yes.
Samuel Shankland, I think in the year 2019, if I'm not mistaken, was the winner of this tournament. And here, can we go from the get-go? D4.
We'll go, and by the way, we have a super chat.
Yes.
And I must tell you guys, Venture Chess Academy, I in fact wrote in my to-do list your task. I also have saved that log extension. If you can just send me a mail again, because I tried to find your email. I couldn't find it. If you send it today to chessbaseindia@gmail.com, I will send it across tonight itself. Meanwhile, we have some guests joining in here. Fantastic. Harshit Bhai, if you have some questions for them, we will also ask them.
Yes,
So we will get
absolutely.
some answers here. But Shankland versus Ediz Gurel sees the London system.
Yeah, an opening which was popular a lot in the year 2022, 2023, but it kind of went down in popularity, I felt. But now again, I think that it's gaining a lot of popularity. Black goes for c5, c4,
You know,
completely
if I would
restricting.
have played this some years ago, my coach would have said this is the most terrible move to make because you're just giving up the tension in the center.
Yeah, I mean, usually we always want to keep some sort of tension with the c5 pawn attacking the d4 pawn. But if you notice, once black makes this move pawn to c4, the bishop on f1 cannot go to d3. And agar bishop d3 pe nahi aayega, to how will you attack here?
Right, so without the bishop, so this is a very concrete move, stopping the bishop from going there. But Shankland is like, who needs the bishops when you have the rooks?
h4.
He's just going out.
He's
for
going
the attack.
h4, h5, and he's going to do something that Amruta is perhaps very fond of. Rook lift, Sagar Bhai, might be
Oh,
coming.
Maybe Amruta is still watching this, and Amruta, we have the rook lift incoming.
We have you in our thoughts.
Yes, h4, h5,
Harry is going all the way, Sagar Bhai. h6.
and now this knight is being attacked once, twice, and thrice. So you have to do something about it. But Shankland is like,
Shankland completely ignores it, and there is a very concrete reason. So you can, if you take knight takes e5, d takes e5, bishop takes e5, and now we are at a juncture where white has two important moves: bishop takes e5 and hg7. And this move h take g7, we can definitely say is an intermezzo. Because after king takes g7, suddenly the rook on h1 is going to be the reason why black is in big trouble.
yes, white to play. What do you do here? Would you like to try?
Wow. Wow.
Bishop h6, fantastic. This seems like the best move here, winning an exchange.
Yes, our spectators are very strong, so we should maybe ask a bit more tricky questions.
Yes, definitely. We will have some tough questions also coming up. And if you guys are in and around Prague, as I mentioned, please do consider coming to Hotel Don Giovanni here. So that's why Ediz went for the move g6.
Yeah.
He kept it closed.
And this is a move which you are never happy to play, right? Because the square on g7 becomes so weak, and with the pawn on h6, your king is always going to be a bit vulnerable. But now is the move that we definitely did not expect Sam to play so quickly. Knight to g4 was
This
blitzed
is
out.
preparation.
Has to be. He has,
And his point
look at his
being,
clock.
if you take here, he will simply win a piece.
Yeah, no, that is going to be terrible. You cannot take on f4. Ed is one of the best talents from Turkey. Takes knight takes g4, bishop d6, queen d6, queen g4.
But I
And-
feel something is fishy here. I mean, look at this. The queen is here. The bishop is staring across the queen. Can we simply not unleash it?
That's the move that came to my mind. Pawn to e5. Can we go for it? I think the point could be that white goes for queen to g3, pinning the pawn to e5 to the queen, and then it's going to be a bit difficult to have this. Because if you go queen e7, I do think that even if white takes d takes e5, queen takes e5, queen takes e5, knight takes e5, this endgame with white's pawn on h6 and the d5 pawn being a bit weak is definitely going to be preferable for white. And the rook can even sometimes swing across like this. So
Nice, nice. So that means that right now Sam Shankland is in a very interesting position because of the time on the clock. He has 1 hour 34 minutes. Ediz has 1 hour 15 minutes, and now everyone's asking us, can we look at Prague's game?
yes, we can.
Meanwhile, look at that. Look at Aravindh Chithambaram, by the way. He is, by the way, the master section is in the other side. He is looking at
He's
some...
taking a stroll, yeah.
Yeah, he's taking a stroll somewhere else. And this is, I think,
Oh,
a
Prague.
very exciting game of the day because David Navara is known for his combative play. And he
Direct
is,
play. He loves calculating, forcing. He loves getting chaotic positions and trying to out-calculate or outsmart his opponent. But Praggnanandhaa, after winning the Vaikanse, is definitely going to try to keep that momentum in this event and have a good start. Yesterday as well, he looked very, very confident in his posture.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Crick says, why doesn't Harshit Bhai play? Why are all are making him a permanent streamer or what? Guys, I must tell you, next month onwards, Harshit is on a roll.
Yes, so I don't know what will happen, but I will definitely, for Paris, but I'll definitely be there for Grenke to
You're
play
playing.
in the
Oh.
freestyle
And if I'm
event.
commentating, you will come in between sometime.
And then after that, I will play an event in Sardinia in Italy. So we'll definitely
So,
start
guys,
playing.
while we have him here, let's enjoy his insights because, once,
Arre.
once Harshit starts playing, he will be thinking about his 2600 ELO where he wants to reach. And we have the Queen's Gambit declined Ragozin variation here.
Ragozin variation. Navara already showing why he loves playing these complex positions. C takes d5, E takes d5, bishop to f4.
Yeah.
And now he does allow this crazy line that starts with knight e4 and g5.
Have you prepared this ever like bishop f4? Because generally people used to put their bishop on g5 pinning the knight.
Yes.
But bishop f4 seems to be the modern treatment.
Exactly, because the problem was that bishop g5 always used to get hit with h6, and you had to make a decision whether to take the knight on f6 or not. Because after, let's say, h6, bishop h4, g5 was very possible after bishop g3, knight e4, and I think that instead of going for these direct lines, Prague just wanted to play kind of a solid game, bishop f4, and his idea is simple: go e3, bishop d3. And short castles.
And opponent goes castles, e3, and pushes the pawn in the center. And Prague says, I don't mind if you take here, I will take back with the knight.
It's very important you mentioned that. You have to capture back with the knight, because if you capture with the e pawn, rook to e8 check, and suddenly white's position is going to be in a lot of trouble, because if, let's say, you have to come back bishop e2, the black knight could even jump into e4, putting pressure on the c3 knight. Definitely not what you want. And after cd4, knight takes d4, we get an isolated pawn position where the pawn on d5 is isolated, and white already controls the very important isolini square, which is the square right in front of the isolated pawn. And I think getting control of this square will definitely put white in a small plus.
But here, David Navara plays a move which I think you guys should think about. Black to play. What should black do here? How to put pressure on the center here so that, white is made to take certain decisions. An important moment here. Black to play.
Oh, we saw him playing. He come from upstairs.
Oh, you saw him play the move already. So maybe for our chat here, what should black do? Meanwhile, Sakar Chess says that some games in the challengers section are not live yet online. Maybe we can have a look later at few of the games. But yes, the move that we were looking for, I mean, most of the people want to play knight c6, and I think it's not a bad move.
It is not at all a bad move. I do think that white would probably consider capturing the pawn on c5 now that black has to kind of spend the tempo with taking back with the bishop, and now we just castles, go rook c1.
Also h3.
Yes, h3 is a very typical
it's
idea.
a typical move here, maybe.
I'm just a bit afraid that h3, black will
D4.
immediately go d4, and after knight a4, which is a typical way
Check.
to meet, d4, bishop to b4 check is going to be a problem because the king is still in the center. However, the move that after bishop d3 we were looking at is bishop to g4, played by David, pinning the knight on f3, and his idea is to now capture cd4 because ed4 is going to be very equal.
So Prague asks the question to the bishop a3, and now creating a mess on the board is bishop a5.
Yeah, I mean bishop a5 is a concrete move because white can capture the pawn on c5.
But then I take on c3, right?
Yeah, but so you just played bishop a5, and can you explain to the chat why after d takes c5 you're willing to take bishop takes c3? What changed?
My only problem is if white gets
B4,
b4,
so it's over.
it's just a clean extra pawn.
Exactly.
So I want to, either I'm thinking about d4 business here, if it works.
Sagar bhai always thinking about some business.
Yeah. But I don't think it works here.
Yes, I don't think d4 exactly works because it is possible. But the problem is that after e takes d4, I think white's center is a bit too strong and b4 is always going to be in the air. So I think that you are right that black should capture bishop takes c3 because after bc3 the pawns on c3 and c5 are broken and the black queen can perhaps quickly jump to a5 as well, attacking both these pawns, which will mean that you lose one of them.
So while David Navara has played his bishop back, an important question for Prague, and maybe Director Saab, if we can zoom in a little bit on our camera, then it could be a nice thing here on the camera here in the commentary room. But bishop a5, Harshit Bhai, what would you play here as white?
I am definitely tempted by castling, but the problem with castling is c takes d4. Again, as we said, we can capture the knight, and if e d4, knight c6, and you are putting so much pressure on the d4 pawn that I am very uncomfortable because you are also wanting to go bishop b6, and I think suddenly black is putting a lot of pressure on white's center.
So very important moment for Prague to decide now what to do, because on one hand, if he takes here, then the bishop is taking on c3. On the other hand, if you castle, then pawn takes, knight c6. So David has kind of got both his bishops to pin these two white knights.
Yeah, and that's why Prague is thinking. Prague is thinking for more than 7-8 minutes already because he knows this is a critical moment. It's important to understand when a moment is critical. Prague obviously is no stranger to this concept. He's taking his time trying to find the right idea because if you take dc5, the structure of the position is going to change completely.
Yeah, but it might be the best move.
It might be. You might just have to go for it because otherwise, how will you protect against cd? Maybe, can you go bishop c2? But the problem is now black will capture bishop takes f3 first, and after queen takes f3, now c takes d4, e d4, and again knight c6 perhaps, and black is getting a lot of.
But
quick
there is
development.
also maybe a direct way to take advantage of this. Like
Maybe
what
just
if I
CD4
take?
first, yeah.
I take.
If you queen d4, then knight c6 will also jump in. Yeah,
Right.
this looks bad.
And then with d4 coming in and bishop f3, it looks bad. So yeah, right now a very very key moment in this game. Meanwhile, while Prague is thinking, let's head over to Anish Giri.
We didn't
Yes,
take a look at that game.
Anish Giri versus Quang Liem. And we have
And we are already have only 8 moves, but the players have already thought for quite some time. So we are reaching unfamiliar territories.
but this looks quite normal, right? It's the Queen's Gambit accepted.
Yes, dc4, knight f6, bishop takes c4, e6, knight f3, a6, trying to go for b5, castles, and black goes bishop e7, delays going for b5.
Yeah.
And very interesting move by Quang Liem now because of course you would expect him to go knight c3 or queen e2 here, but he goes for knight bd2. And if I were try to explain this move, it is that white wants to keep the option of going b3, bishop b2 open for the bishop on c1.
Also, one more thing. If black goes b5, which he did, Anish, the bishop comes back. Now you can strike here, forcing the pawn to come ahead, and then the knight
that's
gets
a very
this very nice square.
Absolutely. I mean, a4, b4, knight c4 is definitely what Liam is going to consider. Also, knight d2 allows him to go to b3 and potentially even to a5 if the black bishop comes to b7.
I'm actually surprised at Anish Giri's opening choice slightly. Not too much because we are still early in the opening, but generally you don't play b5 here, right? Like you play either castles or c5 and then
No.
later maybe, maybe this is already a bad move, yeah? c5 here.
Yeah, because I think white can play d takes c5, bishop takes c5, and sometimes even this endgame is very, very good for white. After knight b3, it can become quite unpleasant for white to play. And also, you spend time to go bishop e7 and then bishop
And then-
takes c5.
so you wasted a tempo.
Exactly. B5 actually, b5, bishop b7 in this position is actually, I think, one of the most typical ideas. b5, b7, knight d7 and to go for c5.
But if I go bishop e2 like Quang Liem has done and now Anish plays this move,
Okay.
how do you meet this very, very interesting...
Yeah, this a4 move is definitely a bit annoying. But let's say I go let's try to mate it with b4.
And I play
Knight
a5 as well?
Or maybe even knight c4, yeah? Trying to put our knight on a5. Or even
Yeah.
knight b3 is interesting in that matter, so that you even control the c5 square. It's not definitely not easy to judge, because after a5, I even consider this idea of going knight fd2, trying to put this knight to c4, and then go bishop f3. Perhaps this looks very good for white.
Wow. Whew. Okay. So guys, maybe Anish Giri is already in a thinking mode. Look at the time on his clock. He's spent 20 minutes already, and we can see Le Quang Liem. If we can see the, yeah, he's moving around. He's not really at the board. Wow. This area which they have is a nice area for the players to walk only today, because from tomorrow the open tournament will
going
be
to
played.
start. Yes, but I do think that area might still be available. Who knows? It will
Maybe
be
it
interesting
will
to
be,
see.
but you can see that on the right of your screen there is spectators who are sitting. This will all have tables tomorrow, and we have some very strong players in the open section who will be playing here.
Yes, we have some players from India as well. Vantika Agrawal is going to be playing in the open section, so will be very interesting to see both Divya and Vantika play in this event. Olympiad gold medals winners.
Oh, Vantika is here.
Yes, she will come.
Oh.
At least I saw her name.
By the way, you have a question from Himang. He says, was Le Quang Liem your coach ever? Did you learn from him in the US?
No, he was not my coach, but he was the head coach in a university very close to mine, which is the Webster University.
But I can't believe how Le Quang Liem, in spite of being a trainer in the university, is still at 27-39 or 27. Yeah, like, how can you maintain both these things?
Well, I think that these players have such strong fundamentals, like all these old school. I mean, Le Quang Liem is definitely an old school player. He's been in the top since the last 10, 15 years. He's maintained it quite
He, in
effortlessly.
fact, was the world blitz champion in 2012.
Yes.
So 13 years ago.
That's crazy. Oh, actually, also we have a lot of developments in the Vincent versus Wei Yi's game.
Okay.
Look at Vincent's clock. He has 94 minutes.
What?
And coming from Weisenhaus, he's really riding high on that confidence.
If I have to face Vincent, I would be super scared right now. You know, today, by the way, I met him and Peter Lecco, his coach, in the elevator at around 2 p.m. before the round, and they were coming back from lunch. And I asked them, like, oh, were you in the lunch of the buffet which is being served at the first floor? You know, like we all have, by the way, guys, this wristband which we just show, and then we can eat food. And they actually went outside to eat, because the buffet has so many dishes that sometimes you overeat. So they wanted to eat like limited food. And so they went out and they ate something, and I think they were in such good spirits.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely working. They have very good synergy. Probably going on a walk before the game has also been proven to help a lot of top players. Gary used to walk a lot before his games, and maybe they're trying to do something similar. But here, we left it after
Bishop d3.
We left it after bishop d3. So
Yeah.
CD4, knight c6 played.
Attacking the pawn
Pawn on
here
d4.
In the center. So knight comes out. Check. And this is where I believe Wei Yi would have been expecting
Bishop
Vincent
d2.
to, block, but Vincent was like, sorry, I'm going to lose my castling rights
Yes,
here.
and now he's already threatening pawn to f3, which is trapping the knight on e4, which is insane. Like already the knight, like in the center of the board where it can go to 8 squares, it has no square available.
So my question to the viewers now here, few of the viewers sitting here, how do you meet this position with black? What do you do when your knight is right in the center of the board? What is the move you play?
Also, it's a good concept to remember what you should do when your opponent's king is weak.
Yes.
You should try to open the position.
Exactly.
So the best move here, which was played by Wei, pawn to f6, trying to meet f3 with f takes e5. Maybe I can just show this, because now the rook on f8 pins the pawn on f3, and I think this is going to be very, very good for black. But Vincent had everything, I think, prepared. He takes bishop takes e4.
Okay.
D takes e4. And now, of course, if you take queen e4, black will capture fe5, d5, and I think that endgame should be very, very close to equal.
Also the f file gets opened up.
So definitely not what Vincent wanted. He took the pawn, rook f6, and now he did not take the pawn on e4.
Yeah,
Why?
because maybe there are some reasons like e5 there, or
Also, something like queen a4 could be tricky, and I have a very hideous threat in this position.
Ooh, let's ask our viewers here, what if we save the pawn? What happens here? Maybe some of our viewers very strong, but in the chat for them, black to play. What is a nice move here?
Maybe bishop d7 developing.
Or maybe knight e7 maneuvering to the weak square.
No, our chat is too strong. Exactly. Everyone writing queen to d1, Parikshit, Suresh, Ekta. Queen to d1 is mate, so you can't allow this. This will be game over. He did not take the pawn. He went for bishop e3. And he blitzed this move out, which definitely makes me a bit scared for the black's position.
And look at Vincent there. He's sitting as if he's the one thinking. So even though it's not his move, he's completely zoned in. He has a close to 35-minute lead on the clock.
Wow.
And Wei Yi is the top seed of the tournament. It seems like Vincent today is out for blood.
Yeah, he definitely wants to start with a bang. If you are way in this position, you just want your opponent to stop blitzing. Because when your opponent blitzes out, it means that it has it prepared. And it's very, very difficult to play with black in this position, I think.
I don't know what should black do here. Maybe we have some suggestions here from our viewers. What should black do? Guys, if you have any suggestions, because Wei Yi is kind of at loss for moves here.
I mean, I think he does have some ideas. For example, he can go bishop d7, but I think you need to find some idea against white capturing the e4 pawn.
You will be pawn down.
Exactly, and like you have to prove your compensation, because if you don't have enough compensation, Vincent with his time advantage is simply going to convert it.
We have Arnav Agarwal who's saying e5, one move. There is also a suggestion of knight b4, which seems like a bad move to me. Although you can't take here, I can simply play queen d2 and
Or
pin.
knight before, just take the e4 pawn as well. Yeah, like
Just
ask
take this pawn.
what exactly do you want. So it's not easy actually. Even when I'm trying to think for a move for black, because queen f5 runs into the very nasty knight g3, and this is going to be very, very bad because I'm attacking both the queen and the pawn. So let's try to figure out, because this is a key moment. I mean, we need to figure out a move for black to continue the game somehow.
Yeah. It's a very, very key moment here.
Oh, can I go for pawn to b5?
Wow. That's a crazy move here. And Harshit Bhai, the engine
Did not move, which is maybe it's the best move.
It has liked your move. So just so that we tell our viewers here, we have the bar, we can see the evaluation, but we can't see the
move.
lines.
Yeah.
So right now we are just kind of relying on the bar. It did not move, so b5 is actually a very strong move.
Yes, we want to get rid of the pawn on c4 desperately, because as soon as the pawn on c4 moves, the d5 square opens up. And now notice that we were trying to struggle to develop our bishop, but it suddenly has found some sort of a life from either a6 or b7. So this b5 is a very, very important move.
But then I can take this pawn and attack your knight, no?
You can, and my idea was that now I just go for something like bishop b7.
Ooh.
And I try to go for quick counterplay.
With the rook coming in, perhaps.
Exactly. And now the king on f1 doesn't look very happy. So I think Vincent might be thinking that if my opponent does not find b5, I'm going to have a great position. And even if he finds it, I know the next few moves to perhaps keep the game under my control.
Okay. So right now we are going to wait and see what does Wei Yi play next.
Do you think he will play b5?
I think it's kind of forced, because it's between the move e5 and b5, because e5 I already feel like d5 and then this is hanging.
I think by method of elimination, he should be able to figure out this move pawn to b5.
Also, Harshit, You found it very quickly.
If I found it, he has to find it. Yeah?
No, I mean, I'm sure it will pass through Wei's head if he's thinking for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, if he's thinking for 20 minutes, it also shows that he's uncomfortable. Because usually, I mean, with 90 minutes, you also don't have unlimited time
Yeah.
to think. And it's only, what move is? Only 15th move. So they have to make 25 moves so far.
yeah, just to tell our viewers, it's 90 minutes plus 30-second increment from move 1. And after move 40, another 30 minutes get added.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this shapes up. For the time being,
Can we check Arvind's game as well? Because that was one game we looked at after this move knight to g5. And this idea with knight h3 has all happened in the game.
oh my god.
So
It
knight
gets the-
g5, knight takes,
Pawn takes.
h6. And I asked where should the knight go and this happened, knight h3.
Wow.
And black goes for queen c7, trying to put pressure on the c3 pawn. But again, I think in this position, although black is fine, Arvind has 25 minutes more than his opponent, which shows that he has looked at this position more recently than Nguyen or remembers the details better. But obviously, black is completely fine in this position. But I'm thinking if white can go knight f4 right now. Can I sacrifice?
Just to tell our viewers that you can't take the pawn in the center because the knight is hanging.
Exactly.
So that's why you want to play the knight.
Yeah, but I don't know if I can afford to give my pawn on c3. I don't know if I have enough do I? Queen c3?
I'm sure that looks good because then
Bishop e3 I think you have to play. Queen c3, bishop e3, attacking the d5 pawn.
but then I have just e6, no?
Yeah, and maybe you just protect everything.
Yeah,
So.
so I was thinking if bishop d2,
But d4
queen
is also
d4,
hanging,
and
then
now
a1.
a1 is hanging. Okay, so maybe knight f4 is a tricky move because
Yeah, maybe it's not possible to do it actually. There is this interesting idea of going bishop to a3, right?
now directly.
Directly, because if you take on c3, the e7 pawn is hanging. And I do think that the e7 pawn is more important in this position for black to defend, because once the e7 pawn falls, the pawn on d5 is going to become very weak. So I think bishop a3 could be a move that Arvind considers, because it also allows white to go rook a to c1.
But I think it's more concrete, right? If like now bishop a3, queen c3,
Okay, bishop
bishop
e7.
e7, rook e8.
And now I have...
This and this both are hanging.
But can I go bishop c5?
Defending the pawn here. And then you want to go knight a6, you have rook c1.
Yeah, rook c1.
It's already looking quite good for white.
Yeah, so bishop a3, I don't know if you should take the pawn on c3, because strategically it's very risky to give up your e7 pawn.
Yeah.
Rizard type something for you, Sagar. bhai.
Rizad says, Sagar Bhai, again alone and enjoying without Amruta. Well, Rizad, I must tell you, I am very sad here to be alone. It's not like I'm very happy. No, I mean... it's of course I would have loved to have Amruta here. Last year she and I were commentating together here. It was not this room, it was some other room in this Don Giovanni. But yeah, we had some passport related things. She renewed her passport and I'm hoping that she'll join.
Oh, by the way, Wei did not find b5. He played bishop d7 and Vincent blitzed out king to g1. What a move is king g1.
Can we look at Vincent's face? Can we look at it on full screen?
Because it's very hard to understand anything on Wei's
Wei.
face. He's
No,
always
but Wei is back.
Wei is back, but like he never gives any emotion. I think he's like the most like calm person to play in this. Like just look at his face.
Oh, also I know that Wei in general is not so worried when he goes low on time. I think we have seen some games where he's down to a minute, opponent has an hour, but he's okay.
Yeah, but here when Vincent blitzes out king g1, does he want to put his rook from a1 to f1, or I'm just trying to understand what does white's idea? Maybe h3, king h2, yeah? Just try to find shelter for the king on g1.
Or he's just saying my king belongs on g1, I'll play h4 next.
h4, rook h3.
h4, h5.
That's actually a
And
cool
rook
idea.
h4.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
h4 and rook h3 I really like this concept of bringing the rook over to g3. I think this game definitely is going to be an important one for Wei to defend early in the event, because how you start the event definitely shapes up the momentum for the rest of your event. So
I agree.
you definitely want to start on a high. On the other hand, Vincent, with having 35 minutes up on the clock, has definitely had an opening success.
Yeah, absolutely. Peter Lecco must be very thrilled right now the way in which Vincent is playing this opening. And if we can have the board back, Harshit, I think right now Black again has a decision to make. Can we go b5 now?
Well, with your bishop on d7, b5 is a bit less tempting.
Because you can't get your bishop now on this diagonal.
Exactly. And I think White does not want to capture the pawn on e4. You know, that pawn on e4 is something that White wants to keep because it restricts Black's pieces from getting active.
You can go with your knight and take it later.
Exactly. It's actually a pawn that, White is like, okay, have that pawn. I don't want it because it's going to hurt you more than it's going to be beneficial for me to capture.
True.
So
Okay.
bishop. So after King G1 is still thinking, yeah, down to less than 55 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Giri, Anish's position, how do you think he took the pawn on a4?
Yes.
I'm not the...
But I like it. Oh my god.
No,
the
this is-
engine hates it totally.
Yeah,
Anish Giri has started this tournament in a dangerous way. So we were talking about bishop e2. He did bring his knight out, which looked like a okay move.
and this idea of a4 that we were talking about, trying to ask Black if he wants to go ba4 or b4, because b4 does have a lot of strategical weaknesses that you have to be careful about. Because knight b3, and then the square on a5 becomes weak, and then if you go a5, then suddenly this knight can jump into c4. So
No, we discussed that, but I think Anish kind of made things even further worse, right? By taking this pawn on a4.
yeah, because now the pawn on a6 is so weak, right?
Yeah, maybe if we can have the, I think the board is a bit stuck here. Can I refresh?
So we're trying to go into the live position right now. But yeah, this concept that we were talking about, if you go b4, Sagar, but it's not easy to willingly allow these weaknesses
Yeah, I
in your
agree.
position.
I agree, but I think by taking the pawn, Anish seems to have made a very dangerous decision, and we will check that out. Meanwhile, Quang Liem on your screen is thinking, and also we have some bars on the bottom right. I think
Oh,
they
wow.
will also be updated. Yeah, we have b takes
amazing.
a4 taken.
Queen takes a4 played by Quang Liem, bringing his queen in, and after castles, maybe White can simply go something like, can I actually go knight b3 now, trying to go knight a5, knight c6?
Actually, great idea here. Trying to get in. Is there any other things? Maybe there are some other ways to get the advantage. White's position is amazing. To get such a big advantage against Anish Giri out of the opening.
Yeah, I mean, Anish is known to be one of the best prepared players in the opening. And already after 10 moves, he's thought for 30 minutes. But it's not about the time right now. It's about the position.
It feels like Anish is playing freestyle here.
But
he's taking more time. He's getting into a tough position. I mean, you hardly see Anish doing this in classical chess, in normal chess.
yeah, well, I mean, it's still, of course, early to jump to conclusions. But I do think that White should be very happy with the outcome of the opening. Especially with this move knight b3, where if you go bishop b7, knight a5,
No,
I
that
think
that would be too
yeah,
bad.
I mean, this
Too
actually might be even like
Yeah, crushing.
more than +1 already, I think.
But what about here? Instead of you allowing you to
Oh, by
jump
the way,
here,
I
I
want-
come a5.
Yes, firstly, I wanted to ask, why is c5 a bad move right now?
Okay, that's a good question for our chat and viewers here. White to play. Why is this not a good move?
Yes, someone mentioned queen c6. I'm not sure if queen c6 immediately, but definitely. I mean,
It's on the radar. Maybe
it
you
is.
can start with dc5.
yes, dc5. Actually, maybe it's possible queen c6 directly is also quite powerful, actually.
But then rook b8.
yeah, I was a bit
bishop
afraid
b7.
that after dc5, bishop b7. Oh no, your knight on b3 is hanging. So after
Yeah.
queen, but like this idea that first dc5 And if knight c5, bishop c5, now white has queen c6, and this looks very dangerous for black with both the bishop on c5 and rook on a8 hanging.
But 1 minute, there is some...
There is only this one saving move for black, queen to d5, which is protecting against everything and perhaps equalizing. But nevertheless, black has to be careful about all. But then, if c5, what is the best? Oh, maybe just knight a5, yeah? Maybe just ignore everything and go knight
just
a5.
continue for this c6 square domination.
Yeah. If once white's knight reaches on c6, it's very, very well placed.
We have our viewers here who found it.
Wow.
Love Supreme, Sakar,
Abhimanyu.
well done guys. Suresh, to jump with the knight, to not get distracted by black's move.
Avoid the temptations. Our plan was clear to go knight b3, knight a5, knight c6, and we are just going to stick with it. And I think this position is very good for white right now. So knight b3 is a move that I'm expecting Quang Liem to play, and he plays it. Wow.
It's on the board. Knight b3 played here as Anish comes back. You know, for Anish, this is a very, very important tournament, I feel, because somewhere, if you think about his entire chess career, he's been one of the best players in the world. And one of his biggest aims is to reach the candidates, win it, try to fight for the world title. And for that, one route is through the FIDE circuit. And I think he really was close last year. If you remember 2023, when he
was very close, but then in the end, I think Arjun eked out on the...
No, Gukesh.
Gukesh, yes, correct.
Gukesh got ahead of him.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Gukesh, yes.
Yeah, and so if you want to be ahead on the FIDE circuit, you have to play well in every tournament that you play. His Tata Steel wasn't great.
Yeah, in Tata Steel, I think in the home ground, he was also not feeling well. But however, definitely not the best event for him. Where he lost to Gukesh in that position, he was completely winning.
First round, yes.
Exactly. And then that kind of shaped the rest of the event for him. And this game right now also super important for black to find the right idea. Because if I get knight a5, I mean, I'm not going to say white is winning. But I will say that he has very good chances.
But then I push my pawn to a5, but you can still take it, right? I mean, I don't see how you win back the...
You go a5, but now I can go knight to a5 and I also have an extra pawn, right?
And then I play bishop d2, defending it.
Or even b4, just even stopping b5.
Maybe not a5. What?
Maybe knight b6, yeah? Because now the point is that if I go queen c6, I mean...
Queen d5, no?
Queen, or even just rook b8 perhaps. Basically the point being that the square on c6 has been occupied. But still this is very good for white. And why am I saying this? Everyone is saying, why am I saying white is so much better? Okay, let's try to explain. Oh, c5 played, by the way.
What? No way. This is getting really... Maybe we can check our engine here.
Yes.
To see how big is the advantage.
Where can we check it? I don't know how to check it. Ah, yes. Knight a5.
1.03.
This is huge. Yeah. I mean, after 10 moves, and can I stop it now?
Yeah.
And I think even for us, practically, when we were thinking without the engine, it just was clear that white is not doing well. So knight a5, and bishop d2, rook f c1 is going to come next. This might be a very, a tough first start for Anish. And Quang Liem on the other hand, which no one was counting on winning the first game so I mean, okay, he's not winning yet, but
still too soon to say, but yeah, he might make the first breakthrough. So yeah, good news for all white games. It feels like Quang Liem doing well. Then we have this game where Vincent Keymer is super ahead on the clock. We can quickly check what wins. Yeah, there we have it. Rook f8. And now look at this.
What is the point?
I mean, he's just doubled his rook. So can we win a pawn now?
So I think the idea is clear. The pawn on e4 should never be captured by white.
But it's already better for black. Almost.
Yeah, no. Once you capture the pawn on e4, it just opens way too many things for black. Let's say black even can, the possibility of going rook g6 and at some point going knight e7, bishop c6 is going to be in the air. But I think in general, the main problem is that queen e4, I thought runs into queen a4 always. Attacking the c4 pawn, and now even knight a5, bishop c6 ideas exist. And this gives black's pieces a lot more harmony.
Also, like we can just sacrifice this and go knight e7, yeah, to get the bishop on this diagonal, knight f5.
By the way, I think Wei Yi is going to be super happy because Vincent is finally thinking.
Finally thinking, yeah.
I don't know how good the move is, but when your opponent is finally thinking, it's like, okay, finally I'm playing against a human and not a machine, yeah?
Yeah. Amazing. So, Jaikar says that the Women Grand Prix is also happening right now. There's a
In
very,
Monaco, right?
Yeah, very exciting position between Harika and Kostyanyuk that's happening. And here we have some amazing games. So for all the chess fans out there, they are spoiled for choice. Like there's so much of excitement happening all across the globe in chess. And also, we can quickly check what is happening
In
with
Prague's game, yeah?
Prague and David Navara. Oh, we have this.
So we are predicting the moves quite well in classic.
Yeah.
In freestyle, we were really struggling, but in classical, we are able to predict bishop c3, bc3, queen a5.
And this has happened. And now Prague is thinking.
I should definitely say one point that whenever white castles, black never wants to take the pawn on c3 because bishop e5 is going to. Not immediately because bishop e5 there's bishop f3, but like
Rook
let's say
c1.
rook c1 and then white goes bishop e5 bishop. This is huge for white.
No, yeah,
Instead, black always wants to capture the c5 pawn, which would make the c3 pawn like a long-term weakness. You can even start with something like knight d7 and then capture
The
on c5 with
question
the
is,
knight.
why is queen takes c5 giving an edge to white here?
I think rook b1 is the reason. That's what I intuitively think. And
Maybe not. Maybe there's something else here. Maybe bishop e5, bishop d4.
Yeah, attacking the knight and then putting the bishop on d4. And these both
could be
these
possible.
rockets are looking towards the black king.
Yeah, very powerful pieces. But maybe there's something else. h3, yeah.
I think h3 is a good move. If
We were last year, when Vishy Anand was here as the one of the ambassadors of the event,
Uh-huh.
and he joined commentary. We used to do this, like the bar used to be.
Maybe queen b1.
Oh.
Maybe, yeah.
No.
Attacking the pawn on b7 and also at the same time threatening bishop queen b1.
No, but queen b1, when you play bishop e5,
What?
that is knight. Oh, that's the best move?
It could be.
Wow. Insane move. But what if I just play b6?
Well, now, I can firstly jump with my knight on e5 because I no longer have the pin. And then at some point I can go bishop g5 attacking the knight. Like let's say bishop
but
h5.
what if I play... Okay, I understand. Knight e5 is anywhere tempo. Why don't I take your knight and double your pawns?
Yes. So now my point was that I take with the g pawn. And
Or I thought you would take b7.
No. That's a bit too much. I think.
Too much.
So I'll take g takes f3 and now I'm ready to go king h1, rook g1 and launch an attack on your king.
Wow.
And with both these bishops, I think that the attack is going to be coming very, very quickly. So this queen b1 concept is going to be a key concept for white to find if black goes queen c5.
Queen b1 is crazy move.
Oh, castle's played by the way. So
Did he play? No, not yet.
yes, he played it.
Where? On the video, he hasn't played.
Oh, okay. I played it.
On the video, his king is still on e1 as Prague starts to think he has 1 hour 5 minutes. David Navara has 1 hour 3 minutes on the clock. And I want to turn our attention to the game of Shankland versus Ediz Gurel.
By the way, can we have the predictions for today for all the 5 games?
Is this Shankland and Ediz Gurel?
Yes.
Is Black Ediz?
Yes.
Oh, I mean, I can't see him. He's just covered his face with his hands. But look at this position.
What's your prediction, by the way?
For this game?
For all 5 games.
Okay, for all. Let's start with first this one.
I think this game I'm definitely going to give an advantage to Sam.
So, Sam wins?
I mean, if I were to guess at this moment, I would say yes.
My feeling is a draw.
Sagar bhai, very diplomatic.
No, not yet. I mean, I'll tell you why. Because I feel Ediz is very, very tricky. Yeah, like it's very tough to beat
I mean,
him.
I'm not saying Ediz is tricky, but the position
Yeah,
looks...
sure, but I mean, the prediction is not about the position.
True,
it's
true,
the
true.
final
Yeah,
result.
correct.
So mine is draw. You think Shankland will win? What about Aravindh Chithambaram and Van Nguyen?
Yeah, this is a tough one actually. This is actually hard to predict because white has two bishops, right? Black also has two bishops, but the imbalance comes in the pawn structure where white has this pawn on c3, which can be a liability, but on the other hand, it does open up the file on b1 for his rook.
Yeah.
So I think dynamically it's quite balanced, but I don't know. What's your prediction?
I would choose Arvind here somehow. The thing is, the position has enough juice for creating complications, I feel. Although the engine says it's equal, I just feel it's a little bit imbalanced position. Arvind likes such positions.
Yeah.
He might be a small favorite here. So I
On
would
the other
use-
hand, I mean, Nguyen is really solid.
Yeah.
And he's coming off a very good performance in white.
So you would say a draw?
So I am more inclined towards saying there is going to be a draw because Nguyen is super solid.
We have David Navara. Actually, the round is 2 Czech players versus 2 Indian players, yeah?
Yes, but I think that might be the case in quite a few rounds.
No, but why? There are only 2 Indians and 2
true,
Czech.
true. Yeah, there are only 2 Czech players. True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Prague goes castles.
Yes.
No, he doesn't go castle. He goes queen b3.
But the same idea that he's tempting black to take his knight on f3 and give him a doubled pawns. And for everyone watching, like, yes, these doubled pawns are indeed not the best. But in this exact position, the thing is that it's going to be of great help for white because it controls the e4 square, opens up the file on the rook on h1, and I think that bishop f3 is only going to help white.
Yeah, sometimes doubled pawns are, we think they look bad, but they do some great things. And I think
Wise words, Sagar.
yeah, I mean, in general, you shouldn't go on the appearance of the position often. And it's true about chess, and it's true about many things in life. Like they say, don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
And I think same here. So if bishop f3, gf3, it's a great position for white with the bishop
Bishops.
pair
Yeah, absolutely.
and the open g file.
By the way, Quang Liem's position has had a few moves.
Yeah.
He did not go for knight a5.
Oh, but but here, what's your prediction? Prague versus David Navara.
Prague, I think this will be a draw as well.
Okay, I agree.
Oh, we have knight b3, c5, and now has he made a move?
Yeah, he seems to have played the move bishop,
d2. He doesn't go for knight a5.
Very surprising, actually.
Because
And-
knight a5 really put black under a lot of pressure. But after bishop d2, I mean, of course, white is better, but the advantage seems to drop a little bit.
Yeah. I have a feeling that Anish will hold this.
yeah?
He'll hold this. He all he needs is one inaccuracy and he'll be fine. So here, although what should black's move be? Like if you play bishop b7, I still have knight a5.
Yeah, to be honest, like I'm going to still say that white
White
going
will
to
win.
Yeah.
Oh, bold prediction.
I mean, I just want some results to happen. That's why in every game I'm saying there will be some result.
And here,
Oh, h4 played.
Wow.
So this idea that
Wow.
you mentioned with trying to bring the rook out from
yeah.
h1 to
or maybe h5 and rook h4.
yeah, maybe even that, yeah. But I feel that h4 controls the g5 square so well that I don't know if I want to give that because if h5 you also have to think about bishop e8 and the h5 pawn being a bit weak. But it is definitely possible. h5 to potentially even go h6.
I'm saying Vincent wins here.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard for me to imagine Wei Yi losing though. Like in the whole Vaikante, he almost never got into a bad position. Like,
But he was not winning much. But he
but
was also not losing.
Yeah, he ended on like a +1 with 0 losses, I think. So, although Vincent is obviously riding a high and also has a good
I
position.
see him little differently after Weisenhouse tournament. Like, earlier I used to feel like Vincent is very strong, but often, is not able to finish off his opponents. But in Weisenhouse, the way in which he crushed like Alireza, Carlsen and Caruana, I feel like he must have become a different play. Although it was not the standard chess, it was freestyle chess. It just would have done his confidence a world of good.
I mean, he basically went from being a top talent to kind of establishing himself as a top player, I think, after that event. But you also have to definitely agree to the fact that it was freestyle chess, and he still needs a big result in classical chess to establish himself as a top player, because in this event, if he wins, I'm completely going to be on the same page with you that, yeah, he's like, one of the best players, or one of the best players in form right now. But long way to go from now.
Yeah, sure. By the way, if we can just have a look at our camera here and maybe adjust a little bit, put it in the center, would be very cool. But yeah, I don't know what will Wei Yi play next. The time, he has 40 minutes less on the clock.
Yeah. I mean, the Indians don't really mind Black's position, because I personally...
I think he'll go b5 next. What else? Like, there's no... Either you move your knight or you push b5.
Can I go knight b4? No, knight b4 we already saw it's not a good idea, yeah?
Yeah, just take.
Yeah.
e5.
Queen a6?
I'm still tempted some point to do this, but
I
think
like queen a6 actually. I like queen a6 a lot, because I put pressure on the c4 pawn. If you take on e4, the c4 pawn hangs, and I'm ready to go knight a5. So it does make some sense to go queen a6, yeah? But on the other hand, my queen is in the corner, so that's the downside.
And also, Harshit, what's your plan after knight g3, knight e4?
My idea was knight a5, and if knight e4 to go something like... But yeah, I have knight c5 is coming in as well, so can't do this.
Right. Okay. Waiting for Wei Yi to make his move. Maybe our camera can be adjusted. It's a little bit on the side. Yeah, there we have let's go to the game of... Oh, look at the decision made by Thai Dai 1 on the game of
Oh, wow.
Aravindh and Thai Dai 1. If we go to that game,
He chops off the knight on h3 and goes e6. I'm telling you, like, he understands these strategical concepts quite well. But I don't know if bishop takes h3. What do you think? Was that a good decision?
oh, I doubt, Harshit, because bishop h3, e6. Now you are giving your opponent the two bishops in a position that can open up potentially.
Yeah, but black wants to go knight c6, knight a5, knight c4. So he has his plan completely figured out. But you think that the two bishops should do well, yeah?
I like white's chances here. I mean, slowly playing here, maybe getting the bishop back, pushing e4. But yeah, you are right. Like, this square is a weakness, and if a knight sits here, this bishop would be terrible. So maybe there is chances for both sides. I'm just not sure.
Yeah. By the
Right.
way, do we have the is it possible to take a look at the challengers game, or is it
True. Let's have a look at challengers here. We have maybe we can go with the only female player here, which is
Divya?
Divya Deshmukh versus Salgado Lopez.
Wow, and Divya seems to be playing with a lot of confidence. She goes, can I go from the beginning? Oh, we have the cameras as well. This is incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. We have Salgado Lopez on our screen.
He was the trainer of the Spanish team in the Olympiad.
Achha.
Very, very experienced grandmaster from Spain. Playing after a long time, I think.
Have you
because
played with him?
I have not played in classical, but we have played some blitz training games sometimes, because we had this camp, Indo-Spanish camp, and he was also a member of it. So I know him.
Also, for our viewers, Harshit is very good with Spanish.
Yes, I mean, I can definitely hold a conversation, and I cannot commentate yet, but hopefully one day. So she goes for this Tarash kind of variation with c5.
Maybe we can ask our viewers here, what should black play? How can black recover the pawn?
Yeah.
It's a very typical idea that you should know.
Exactly. Bishop
Wonderful.
takes c5. Very, very quickly found here. And the point is that if knight takes c5, which happened in the game, queen a5 check attacks the knight, and this is how you can regain back the material deficit. Rook c1, queen b6. And although white has two bishops, the reason why this position is fine for black is because white's pieces are not completely developed.
Because of the d4 pawn, which is so
Exactly.
strong, it's right in the heart of the position. So
Queen
queen,
B-
b3 by e1.
Knight e7, queen b6, a b6, getting doubled pawns, but the rook on a8 suddenly opens up, which gives an interesting imbalance in the position. But okay, let's see how it happened. a3 castles. Okay, h3 played.
Well,
I personally am biased towards saying that it's too slow. Because in this position, instead of h3, I
E3?
want to open up the position desperately. The problem with e3 could be that
bishop g4.
black perhaps could even consider rook e8. Definitely a consideration for black in this position, because now I'm not so afraid of you taking the pawn on d4, because knight f5 check, suddenly taking on d4, and I'm going to get equality. So I do still think that a move like e3 should have been played, because you want to bring your pieces in the game. Time is of utmost importance right now, and h3 feels a little too slow. Bishop e6 played by Divya, but what I would try to do instead in this position is somehow go knight d5 and try to go for b5, b4. Am I wrong?
Yeah, maybe it's the best way to. But bishop e6, you think is slow, yeah?
So, if your opponent makes a slow move, I would logically try to punish it, because I want to counter a slow move with a with a quick and counteractive idea.
Yeah.
And after I go b5, b4, the rook on a8 can suddenly jump into a2 as well, because the pawn on d4 very nicely covers the c3 square. And now, by the way, knight d5 also has another point, Sagar Bhai, that you cannot go e4 because of en passant, and the knight on d5 covers this. So, I think knight d5,
Was a good move.
I think so. But the question is that b5, there could have been rook c5 as well. So, that's another problem.
But I like Divya, the way she has played bishop e6 and then gone away from the board, and right now Salgado is thinking what to do. G4 could be an idea. Maybe just breaking in the center with e3.
Yeah, and the problem is, Sagar Bhai, that the bishop on e6 kind of, my rook on e8 is no longer going to put pressure on this. So, I don't know exactly what the bishop is doing on e6. I mean, of course, I'm not criticizing this move, but I don't see the clear. Maybe she wants to go bishop e6, bishop d5. Maybe that's her idea.
Okay, so roundabout even, we should definitely have a look at Morizi's game against Richard Stalmach. Morizi is right now one of the most well-known players out there because of his performance at the Jerba Masters, where he had a 2900 plus performance.
Completely insane.
He scored 7.5 out of 9. And I don't know if we have his camera or not, but he is playing some amazing chess.
Absolutely.
So I think he is right now in tremendous form, and also his position against Richard Stalmach, who's a local player from Czech.
But look at his time. Shahid Ahmed points out that he's the youngest GM of France.
Wow. So very, very powerful player there, and he's 2620 already rated. So here maybe a very interesting position where Morizi has the bishop on the long diagonal, also the rook open, pressure on the e4 point.
If you ever go d5, bishop c5 check is going to be a cold shower.
Yeah, this would be big trouble. So actually in this position, white has to remain very careful.
Absolutely.
So bishop c4 has been played. We'll come back to this one. There are also
g4 played by Salgado, by the way.
He goes g4. He wants to put his bishop here on the long diagonal.
And now I'm considering bishop d5 and knight e5.
So bishop here, bishop g2.
Oh, by the way, okay, 1 second. 1 second. Just do I have d3 after bishop g2?
d3, but I take.
And I'm just sacrificing the pawn, but I don't know if I have enough. Like knight d4, but I suspect I don't have enough. Knight d4, bishop g2, and just rook h2. Rook g1, yes, very nice. Because bishop h3, rook g3, of course, the very nice way to trap the bishop. So after g4, what should black do, Sagar bhai? Maybe we can just quickly understand what black wants to do and then go to the masters section.
Yeah, for now, but you can see that actually the video is a little bit stuck, yeah, because I was wondering like how is Ivan Salgado
Not
so
blinking.
so focused, but yeah, g4 and maybe Divya's response is just to put the bishop here. Also, I feel like just rook d8, rook c8 seem like good moves.
Yeah, but you want to somehow equalize directly with black, yeah? Because if white, let's say, gets this bishop g2 castles, it feels like white will have a small edge with two bishops and the pawns on b6, b7, b. So I don't know if b5, b4 is an. Oh, b5, bishop g2, bishop c4 is an idea.
Look at this, Harshit bhai. The main idea that the engine suggests is to go knight g6, and if bishop g2, then rook a e8 with the idea of perhaps f5 break.
Wow,
That's too difficult.
it's too difficult. I mean, I think that after g4, a human idea is to go b5. I think this is very, very human. Bishop g2, bishop c4. I think this is the best way for black to play. Putting pressure on the e2 pawn. I don't know
And
what
rook
the
e8.
engines say, but for me, b5 has to be the best move.
Nice.
Um,
It does feel like a good move here.
how to go back? Yes, I think b5, yeah, it's such a powerful idea to go b5 and bishop c4. And it can, I can even see this position potentially being preferable for black actually. So,
Okay, so for now we have a good, interesting positions developing here. I think we can even quickly show Nodirbek Yakuboyev versus Makun.
Very
Kind
cl-
of equalish,
yeah.
but small edge for white perhaps. Then we have Finek versus Nemec.
oh, the Czech derby.
Yes, and this one also looking very, very equalish. We have Bear versus Kurkolus, and
it
this
seems
one,
like Bear is trying to put some pressure, yeah, on black.
yeah, this one looks really good for Jonas Bear.
Wait, can we please take a look at the opening, because I'm a Natchdorf player and I'm very curious how Bear managed to do this. So a6, bishop e3, knight b3, bishop e6, trying to have control of the d5 square. Early g4, okay. h6, b5, and he goes for. I mean, he played very risky, like.
You mean black?
Yeah, black played very risky because, for example, knight c5 could have been possible now, but maybe he had some ideas. I don't know.
It's the best move here. Knight c5.
Yeah, I mean it's very typical trying to capture the bishop on e6, and after knight c5, if you go something like bishop c8, very often like I just go knight d3, knight b4, and reroute my knight. It's a very typical idea to.
But very cool. He played a3, which is just not in the spirit of the position.
Exactly. You use the term not in the spirit of the position so well, because in Sicilian it's all about time. Like if black gets one move, he's, for example, now knight c4 and he's completely fine.
Yeah.
And the pawn on a3 is actually like a liability, because after b4 it helps black. It's like a catalyst which like helps black to attack black's king faster.
And so very, very fishy play here by Stamatis, and it seems like Jonas has a great position.
Yeah, and you have to take risks with black in order to try and win against lower rated opponents. Jonas, one of the highest rated opponents in the B group, should definitely be very happy with this position. With black, we have some moves in the Masters section.
Let's go.
check
Let's
that.
head over first. Let's start with Anish Giri's game against Quang Liem. We see Anish taking the pawn right in the center of the board. C takes d4 has been played, and I think I'm going to take with the knight.
Yeah, although bishop a5 looks so dangerous, right? Bishop a5, and if you go queen e8, I then capture on d4, like knight takes f d4, and this looks like bishop f3 coming in looks very good. So bishop a5 first, why not?
Yeah, also possible. But now, don't you think I can put bishop b7 and you don't have a knight jumping on a5, which you wanted, right?
Well, but I can go maybe rook c1 and rook maybe even fc1, and I'm ready to go rook to c7, and suddenly I think your pieces are a bit too cramped.
Possible.
So bishop a5 is what I'm expecting Quang Liem to play right now.
Yeah, so bishop a5 is one possible move. Knight d4, another one. Many good options here for Quang Liem, and we'll wait for his reply. Meanwhile, David Navara versus Praggnanandhaa game. We see that after
Oh my god.
Knight
Queen b3,
bd7.
knight d7 was a mistake. Maybe he missed queen b4.
Very good move.
Oh, that's a
But
huge
now you
change in the
take-
position.
And what is happening? Because
Well, now you can simply go knight to d4 because you're threatening bishop to d6. Obviously, whenever black captures on b4, this position after cb4 is huge for
yeah,
white.
this is very
Because
pleasant.
you have not castled, and in the end game, you want your king to be a part of the game. So you can either go king d2 or even f3, king f2, and then this rook swings over. This is
terrible.
this is terrible.
But
So-
the question is, why can't we do bishop d6 straight away here?
Well, because you can actually do it straight away as well.
Yeah, because you force now, because otherwise you will win here. So you force him to take.
And then c takes, yeah?
I'm thinking,
Really?
should I take a b and open my rook with king d2, or should I take?
I think it makes more sense, right? Because you open up the c line for your rook, and king d2 is always going to be something that you have on your mind. So maybe, I mean, not now because knight e4 check is a problem. So maybe
Yeah.
now knight d4. No, now knight d4. And now you want to go f3, king d2. This is a very important concept of going f3 to protect the e4 square. You don't want the black's knight to be jumping in and giving you checks.
Wow. Okay, this is actually a
So
very
Praggu, the game which we weren't so sure about, we thought that potentially it might be heading towards equality, but knight d4 played.
Oh, he plays your move, Harshit. Wow, knight d4.
Now Prague in 2025 is definitely someone to be afraid of. He is in elite shape.
Yes, and Rajnikanthan says that during Vaikanze, we saw that Prague's opponent didn't even realize when they got into a tough position against Prague, right?
Yeah,
And
I mean, I remember his game against Hari, the game which we were commenting on Sagar Bhai, where it was very, very equal. But Prague just needs a small advantage, some sort of glimmer of hope to push your opponents into a tough position, and I think this is happening right now.
yeah, Prague is like this modern day Karpov. I just see him playing some brilliant chess this year, and he's already up to 2758, Harshit. Somewhere he is spurred on by his fellow Indian players doing so well, be it Gukesh or be it for that matter Arjun Erigaisi.
Yeah, I mean, his rating was around 27, 40, 50 for a long time, but I think in Vaikanze he really got the break he was looking for in the last 1 year. And I think now, after making this move, knight d4, he's definitely putting the Czech number 1, David Navara, under big pressure.
And guys in the chat, who do you think will win this tournament? Who is your pick for this tournament? Harshit bhai, who do you think will come out on top?
So I was actually having a conversation about this with my friend yesterday. And
Who, friend?
he was a grandmaster as well, my roommate.
He is, no? Still.
Sorry? He was my ex-roommate,
Okay.
Luka Budisavljevic, a Serbian grandmaster, and we were discussing whom we think is the favorite, and we both came to the conclusion that Prague should be a favorite.
Everyone's in the chat saying Prague,
Yes.
Prague. But there is Vincent, Keymer or Prague.
No, Prague Sagar Bhai is very dangerous.
I have a feeling that there is also Aravindh, who we cannot discount, who has really...
Rook f8 played, by the way. Yes, Sagar Bhai. Aravindh, definitely, very, very upcoming and is in great shape. But like I don't think he is like he did won the Chennai Masters. I think that was his biggest
Yes.
victory so
Actually,
far. So.
the thing about Arvind is that he's never finished below the first place in a super tournament. Because he's only played one. So, this is his second super tournament. But still, he did very well over there.
He's a dark horse in this
Yeah.
event. I mean, he has very, very good chances to do well. But right now, I think Prague should be a favorite in this event. And after Rook F8, what should White do?
I have one line which I want to share. But Kaustubh Kulkarni says, can I join you guys directly at the hotel? Of course, Kaustubh, you can just come here directly to Don Giovanni Hotel in Prague and come to the first floor where we are commentating and join us here.
Maza aa jayega.
It'll be a lot of fun. So, one of the lines which I was thinking, Harshit, is the move F3.
Okay.
And my point was if you take Queen C3,
Acha, you give me a free pawn.
And now this very cool move.
Arey, good find, Sagar bhai. Very, very sharp today. King
Yes.
D2 and attacking not only the rook on C3 but also the bishop on G4.
And also saving my bishop.
Saving your bishop also. So, matlab ye to
Multitasking.
bahut
It's
hi
like
maza aa gaya.
life insurance along with
Dental care.
Yes. Everything. All combined into one. So, yeah, I think F3 because what I like about this move is if you go back, I can now play my king to D2 even by having queens on the board.
Wow.
Because the knight can no longer jump here and I can bring the rooks.
And there is no way for black queen to exchange the queen trade. The c6 square is controlled, the c7 square is controlled, and if the queen goes back, it still can always capture it. So this is actually looking very, very good for white if he finds this idea of f3 that you mentioned.
Lark Lance says Wei Yi is a great player too. It's just that he plays too solid. Yeah, I think in general, Wei Yi's issue is that he's too solid. Like he can. It's if someone asks me if he reaches world championship, he would be very tough to beat.
Yeah.
But for Wei Yi to reach world championship to win like candidates and all is not easy because there you have to win games.
Yeah, and that's why sometimes even having the style, I mean, that's why even sometimes being not so accurate helps in the candidates because that's how you create chances. You might lose, but you might win more games. And I think that's exactly what happened in the candidates last time where Gukesh lost a few games, but he just won more.
Yeah. No, in candidates, Gukesh didn't lose any.
Really?
Yes, unbeaten. He didn't even have one bad position.
That's
Harshit.
insane.
Yeah, he was just on fire there. But yeah, often we see Gukesh, we see him losing, winning. So we think
We are used to that
he
concept,
did lose much, but he did not. Okay, so this one very interesting
Very
position.
good for white though.
And looking very, very solid.
Oh my god, almost +1 for white. This is huge if he finds f3, king d2.
I think he'll find it here. Okay, so
No, Ali Reza, he lost to Ali Reza. Yeah.
oh, he lost to Ali Reza. Right. But there also he was better and he lost.
Yeah.
Correct. Wow, nice one. Chat, you see, Rashid bhai, like
Jack.
chat cannot let
Prince Ali.
anything let anything go by.
By the way, guys, do like the stream so that more and more people can join this exciting Prague festival. Also, did we hit 2.6 million, Sagar bhai?
Not sure.
Let's check. Let's do it, guys. Let's make 2.6 million for Chessbase India. What's the goal for this tournament?
3 million.
3 million.
Yes.
Let's do it.
No, 3 million
3
is
million.
too much. Sorry, 2.7 maybe. 2.7.
2.7 million.
2.65.
2.6. No, but 2.7 is possible, I think.
No, too much.
10,000 subscribers.
Oh, 100,000.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, 2.65 million then.
Yeah. And what about you, Harshit bhai?
Maybe
On your where now?
I
Because
am on 10,000
YouTube
subscribers.
or on Insta?
Or Instagram. I have 10,000, maybe 13,000 would be great.
Oh, 13. 15 maybe.
15,000.
15.
Let's go, Sagar bhai.
And
It
what
will
do
be
you
a-
do? If you reach 15, do you, on the Charles Bridge, do you
We'll-
do
we'll-
push-ups?
And even you will do something.
No. But maybe on the Charles Bridge is a nice idea.
Sure.
Yeah?
Done.
Push-ups. Or maybe we do your caricature there. You know, there are these caricature artists on the Charles Bridge.
Oh, yeah, that will be cool.
We can do yours while doing push-ups. A caricature.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe something else. Yeah, maybe some dance or something also.
Or dancing,
Dance,
yes.
yeah. Okay. Back to the real games right now. Knight f d4 in. I want to check Quang Liem's game because knight e5 played by Anish. Is that a good move?
He's controlling the very key square here, which is the c6 square in the position. And so now you jump here, he wants to take it. The question is, what does white do here? Can we push the knight away with f4?
I'm a bit scared about making this move f4 because it is possible, of course, but I think right now I'm more inclined towards somehow going knight a5 or rook fc1 to try and get control of the c line.
I think knight a5 there will be again bishop d7.
Yeah, it's a problem for my queen.
Controlling this. So yeah, nice right now key moment in the game because if Quang Liem doesn't find a way to push here, Anish will equalize and the game will end in a draw.
Yeah.
So key moment. Saurabh Patne says, Sagar bhai, why did Aravindh seem less motivated in the interview? He should have said target this year's circuit, go for world top 10. I mean, he said yesterday in my interview that he wants to reach the candidates.
That's more than candidates. I think it's top 8.
That's high motivation.
Absolutely.
If he wants to reach the candidates, it's even much more ambitious than reaching
The
top,
top
10.
10, absolutely.
Because he's world 22 right now. Can we have a look at his game and see how he's building up the position with the bishop pair? Because I like what Thai Dai Van Nguyen has done. He goes knight d7,
And
rook
knight
b4,
b6.
knight b6. He wants to come in here to c4, but now queen b1, stopping the knight jumping because of b7 pawn hanging.
Well, the question is, can I still go knight c4? Because after rook b7, I have this cool idea of going something like, okay,
Just
first
queen c6, yeah?
no, I was thinking if I can go queen d6, rook b8 or something like this because I wanted to get the b file, but I can't get it.
Check here, no attack.
Yeah. And by the way, knight d2, rook c7, knight b1, is that position drawn or no?
No, that would be really good, right?
I'm not sure. Knight d2, rook c7, knight b1, rook b1, let's say rook c8, rook b7. I take rook b8. I think black has. I think this might be a draw because rook a7. I go rook b2 and my rook is too active on the 7th rank. So this might be an idea actually for black. That's why he's thinking after queen b1 to go knight c4 or to go rook a6.
Yeah. So this is a great line suggested, knight c4, and if you take, then to take the bishop.
And if you don't
What
take,
if I go bishop f4 attacking the queen, then threatening to take here?
maybe now e5 could be an. Can I go e5 or it's too much?
Then my bishop.
Yeah, then
also
your
controls
bishop
and
opens up.
also
So I
rook-
don't want to open.
Maybe
the
queen a5, so that if rook b7, there's queen c3. Oh, by the way, this is really bad. Why is this so bad? Maybe we can ask our viewers.
Very good question. White
Yeah.
to play.
White to play. Very crazy move here for. Oh my god, it's such a good move, right?
Amazingly
Maybe
strong.
our viewers here can answer. White to play, what do you do?
By the way, knight rook a6 was played in the game, but
Yeah.
yes, very cool moment in this game.
We have Kerem Sinar Parley,
Bishop.
Narayan Singh Bahaduria,
Oh,
Om Shri Prashant.
finding the right move, and then Yash Yadav. Many people.
Boom.
Bishop e6, completely opening up the position because after f e6, queen takes g6 is going to come, and black's king side completely falls.
Boomba.
Z-
It's over.
It's
Oh,
over.
there is queen d4.
Queen d4, but then you can just even take bishop takes h6 now, putting one more pressure on the bishop on g7, and I think now you cannot defend it and it's completely gone. Go Goa gone.
So this is looking bad, but of course he went rook a6 and very quickly Aravindh plays his rook to c1.
Yeah, but black is so solid now. Let's say knight c4.
Just bishop e1 maybe he wants to go back.
But okay, but by the way, rook b7 now, this is not so good, yeah? Knight d2, rook c... No, knight d2 is not good.
Why? What changed? Because now the rook,
rook
is
is
on
on
a6, which is, it cannot really trade anything.
Yeah, this and
makes
you're
sense.
down a pawn. So knight d2 is not good. So what's the best? Well, let's try to figure out.
Maybe just move the queen. Queen a5, queen c6.
It's not that easy to figure out.
Yeah, maybe just queen c6, bishop e1.
There is
Knight b6,
Yeah.
trapping the rook.
there is knight b6.
Wow.
If rook e7, there's bishop f6. Wow, that's a cool idea.
Okay, I think it's a very important moment here for Van Nguyen. What does he do? Because he can go knight c4 now, giving up the pawn. Because Aravindh has defended the pawn on c3 and is threatening bishop f4.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
but the question is, could you have played bishop f4 instead of rook c1 here? Because if you take, I'll take your knight.
Oh, maybe there was a chance for him, yeah, to go bishop f4 and if queen c6. What was your idea?
Well, I just wanted to improve my bishop.
Yeah, maybe now rook c1.
Yeah.
And you're ready to go. Actually, instead of rook c1, is e4 a move? No, that's too much, right?
That's an important moment because it already feels like white has something here in this position. Maybe queen
Rook b5 could be an idea.
or queen d3 with the idea of rook b1.
Yes, queen d3 is a nice move. Yeah,
But-
is rook b5 possible? Yeah, and then trying to go rook c5 and going rook c7.
But I think there is something stronger than all of this, and which is maybe just bishop g2 with the idea of
going
or,
if
or
queen-
c4 even crazy maybe.
Why c4? Knight b6 back. I think e4 is the
E4.
yeah.
Okay, Arvind,
Arvind is-
I like Arvind's position basically.
Yeah, Aravindh is trying to put some pressure on Nguyen with the white pieces. Let's take a look at Prague's game because it seems like he's really found the best idea with this f3. But instead of king d2, it goes rook c1. I don't like that idea that much, Sagar Bhai, because we wanted to bring our h1 rook to c1, na?
Yeah, I mean this rook is not doing much. You bring it here, the other rook goes on this file, but he played rook c1, which feels a bit wrong, and I think
Bishop
David
g6.
very quickly trades off the bishop.
Exactly, because once those bishops are off, the c4 square is going to become very weak. And I think it's a very important idea found by David to go bishop g6, trading off the important bishop.
Yeah. Okay, so Prague now has 38 minutes on the clock. David has 56 minutes.
So is he still better or no?
Prague is slightly better, but not like really better here. And while these games are heating up, Harshit Bhai, we should definitely look at Ediz Gurel versus Shankland.
Wow. I mean, and I think in this game, my prediction was that Shankland is going to win. And I think right now it looks very good for him. He has 30 minutes more on the clock almost.
Also, the king is still very weak.
King, and also very importantly, it's good bishop for white versus a bad bishop for black on c6. And why do I say this? Because the pawns on b5 and d5 are restricting the black's bishop to have an open diagonal.
But sometimes, the pawns are also restricting the white's bishop, right? It's not so easy to activate it.
True, but I think right now rook eb1 and then the knight can jump into c5. White as an outpost there. This does feel good for white.
Ediz Gurel in his first ever appearance in Super Tournament, already facing the heat. Meanwhile, Anish Giri versus Quang Liem.
By the way, Liam finding the best move, rook f to c1 in the position, and then Anish goes for bishop b7. And my prediction was that Liam is going to win this game, Sagar Bhai, because
I think we both predicted that, no?
you thought
not?
that only
I thought Anish could hold.
Could hold. It makes sense because the material is equal, but the thing is that the black's pieces are just not very well coordinated and the pawn on a6 is very weak. So right now after a move like maybe f3 and trying to go for knight a5 could be a very powerful idea. But guys, I've always said whenever there are pawns on g2 and f3, the bishop on b7 is completely restricted. Knight e4 ideas also go away. So f3 is a very powerful move. Following it up with knight a5 and maybe even knight c6.
Yeah, sometimes, people watch such positions and they just don't realize like what's happening because it looks so equal, nothing much is going on, and why is suddenly the engine showing a huge advantage to white? I think it's all about the placement of the pieces
Exactly.
and the weaknesses which exist in the position.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here
right.
we can see a5, c6, and white pieces beautifully positioned. Also, this bishop could reroute itself from here. Meanwhile, black pieces slightly less on possibilities.
Exactly. Like where is the bishop on b7 and also the bishop on e7 are not really, like the bishop on e7 especially, like it's not really doing anything. Whereas the bishop on d2 can go to a5 and then rook c7 can on like all, as we know the rooks do very well on the 7th files, and I think bishop a5 rook c7 is also going to be on the mind of Liem right now. So f3 can really put Anish, one of the favorites of this event for sure, under a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Oh, meanwhile, Nguyen Thai Dai won against Aravindh Chithambaram has jumped in with his knight to the center of the board. He is giving up his pawn there for free.
He is giving up the pawn on b7, but it's a trap. You cannot capture it.
No, we can.
No, queen c6, no? And then knight b6 is trapping your
Yes,
knight.
but now what do we do with our bishop is an important question here. I guess there should be some way we can hold it.
Well, because if you go something like bishop e1, knight b6 is going to be finito. As we
Yes.
saw, the rook on b7 is getting trapped. So I think the pawn on b7 is a bit poisonous, Sagar Bhai.
No, but after queen c6, Harshit, maybe it's a very important moment to think how to wriggle out of this mess. Because let's say I go rook d1, knight b6, rook e7, bishop f6.
Oh, bye. White to play in this position. Why is this winning for white?
Let's ask our viewers here, white to play, what do you do? Amazing. I think it's the same concept we saw a few minutes ago, and it works only because the bishop is here. It would not have worked if you had dropped your bishop
Yep,
back.
Exactly. Oh, wow. Arnav Agrawal. Super quick.
Yeah, GM Mithun,
Tathagat. finding it
Sendil
as well.
Nathan, Paritosh, like great moves, guys. Rook e6, f e6, queen entering with a check. You have to block here.
And bishop takes h6 is also going. Bishop
Boom.
takes e6 check is also coming. This is completely winning for white. However, yes, king h8 and perhaps something like queen h5 is a very good idea, trying to checkmate black.
With just the bishop dropping back.
Exactly. And this is going to be very crushing. However, after rook to d1, black does not have to go for knight b6. He can even simply go rook c8 potentially,
Yeah.
trying to capture on d2 and then the pawn
Yeah.
on c3. This looks
Looks good.
this looks very close to equality for Nguyen.
But I think Arvind can take the pawn. The question is whether he should or not is a different question. He won't be losing if he takes. But good play by Van Nguyen. Knight c4 is the kind of move you make and then your opponent is like,
Yeah.
he played that move and now I have to, find the more accurate continuation, which is non-existent here. White cannot fight for a very big advantage.
Yep.
Let's go to Vincent Keymer versus Wei Yi, a very important game here where we were thinking.
After h4,
Yeah.
Wei Yi played knight to e7,
Yes.
giving up the pawn on e4, and after that, Vincent has thought for more than 40 minutes.
Wow. Because he had 1 hour 30 minutes on the clock or 1 hour 25 minutes. I guess 30 minutes he's been thinking
Yes,
here.
30 minutes, like more than half an hour thinking in the same position, because black's idea is if you capture queen takes e4, what's black's idea, Sagar Bhai? Knight f5?
I thought
or-
bishop c6.
Yeah, bishop c. I don't know because bishop c6 does run into queen e5 as well. So black has a very concrete reason right now that makes this possible for him to play.
Yeah.
Queen a6,
Wow.
maybe.
Really? I
Oh,
would be very
maybe,
surprised.
maybe b5 now. Maybe it is after queen e4. Maybe pawn to b5. Yeah. Trying to like get rid of the c pawn so that the d5 becomes a
And
big
then bishop c6.
bishop
might-
c, exactly. But there is even a powerful move. I mean, what's the move? Knight f5 does seem.
Yeah, knight f5 to
Possible.
get rid of the bishop on e3.
Yeah, because if queen b7 now, this is actually a big mistake because knight takes e3, f takes e3, and suddenly Sagar Bhai, the black queen on a5 is going to say hello from coming to d2.
Nice.
Attacking the knight on e2 and the pawn on e3. This is actually winning for black. So
And Harshit, by the way, if we look at our camera, it feels like we are commentating from a ship.
we are.
It's like all the time we are like, I don't know what's wrong with the camera. Maybe it's just detecting our motion. I don't know. Maybe our eye tracking or something like that.
Hopefully, at some point the ship stops. Okay.
So right now, knight e7 has been played, and the question remains: what is Vincent going to do here? And I think this is typically how
But
a
crazy,
top
no?
level game happens. You know, like one player thinks for long, and then the other player generally matches it.
I mean, but the understanding that Wei Yi has shown that giving up this pawn and bringing my knight to f5, getting the bishop on e3 is going to give me a very good compensation was not easy to
Yeah.
comprehend.
I mean, you are 27-51 for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how Wei Yi has reached there. He is the strongest Chinese player right now.
Yeah, his rating is higher than Ding Liren as well.
Yes. And where is Ding Liren going to play next? We haven't seen him after the World Championship match at all.
Yeah. Hopefully somewhere because we obviously want to see him play.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so right now, very interesting developments here. Meanwhile, Praggnanandha's opponent David Navara comes up with a great move. After knight d4, rook f c8, we did mention that we didn't like this move, rook c1.
Yeah, I'm very surprised Prague went for this.
It's not harmonious somehow.
Yeah.
And then he keeps the bishop with bishop e2.
But now a5, very nice move
very nice.
by.
Forcing white to take.
Yeah, we always wanted black to take our queen on b4 so that we improve our structure with a c pawn. But now after a5, I think it feels like black's position is getting better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. So a5, and now we'll see what will Prague do. If he takes here, Harshit, after knight takes, I think black should have enough in the position to be equal.
Yes.
Or because you see the knight on c5 can come to d3, can
And
go to a4.
If you go king d2, what's the problem?
I thought even knight a4.
Oh, actually, maybe.
Oh, maybe there's some tactic, yeah, with knight not knight e4.
Because suddenly black is better.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like it. Right?
But okay, I mean, what do you do after knight a4?
a4 knight b3 check could be an idea. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Because after knight
Takes
takes a takes,
b3
the
and-
b pawn becomes very strong. Wow.
Oh, also you see here, you have no way to get the b file because
Exactly.
this bishop. So actually, this move bishop e2 was too ambitious, right? In a way, you gave this bishop a very good diagonal.
Exactly. No, I think also most importantly, we wanted to open the c file or a rook or abhi aisa ho gaya after a5 that we are struggling to hold our weakness on c3. So I'm really not liking the last few moves played by Praggnanandhaa.
Although the engine still suggests that white is slightly better, so maybe Prague's position is not that bad.
No, it's not bad, of course, but
Yeah.
I think the variation we showed after king d2 gave him a bigger advantage.
Can we check what happened between Nguyen and Aravindh? Because Aravind's last move is something that the engines
Oh my god.
just did not like at all. Queen C. We looked at knight jumping to C4.
And now bishop e1 played by...
He did not take here.
Yeah, because he
went-
wanted to play for a win. He played bishop e1. But this is the...
Oh, I know.
tables have turned.
Can I tell you the move?
Yes.
Is it the move?
What? Depends.
B5 is what I thought.
It's a very decent try, but the problem
Can we
is...
ask our viewers after B5? Are yaar, Arshid bhai showing the answer.
No, but there is... I think it doesn't work because there's rook b7. That's why I showed. Like b5, the point is... It might seem that after rook b5, knight a3, black is winning an exchange, but white has rook b7, which saves the day. That's why I think instead of b5, black can simply go rook b8 and the knight on c4 completely dominates the bishop. Bishop f8 is a huge threat for black
And
right now.
B6 also, no? About like if instead of rook b8, if you play b6, is that
Also possible.
But here white is back. So there's something about rook b8.
Yeah, well, I think the point is that after rook b8, you threaten bishop f8. That's the biggest reason.
you
threaten
actually,
करना है कुछ तो सागर भाई
yes, you
हमेशा.
open up the bishop to go back. Wow.
This can be huge for Nguyen. I mean, playing in his home city in Prague. Look at the way he looks confident. You see, like his posture has definitely improved, and he plays it.
Wow.
He plays it, and look at Aravindh. I don't know if he's happy with this.
Because now the rook on b4 is lacking squares.
And
there is all sorts of forks
He's
coming
going
in.
to be a local hero if he manages to upset black in the first in game.
Yeah, it would be a huge result here for sure. And also, Van Nguyen is capable of winning this tournament as well, giving great performances. He is very solid. In fact, currently, he's the Czech #1
Wow.
in the live rating list. Although in the published rating, it is David Navara. But on the live rating list...
Look, he's leaned back. He's like, he seems very confident now.
Yes.
Suddenly his posture has improved.
Yeah, absolutely. And Aravindh is now trying to figure out what to do. How about just moving the queen?
If you go queens, yeah,
So that if you attack, I can go back, at least run away.
But then bishop a3 can also potentially come and like ask even more questions for your pieces.
And then later this pawn...
rook c6, I mean, suddenly, you know.
Suddenly the two bishops are doing nothing. In fact, at some point Aravindh should start some kingside play. Otherwise, he'll be simply squashed.
He has to find some sort of a counterplay right now because if the white bishops get passive, the knight on c4 is going to dominate in a closed position. And right now, with this closed position, black is even much better, if I can say so. Almost +1.
Wow. That's huge.
The tables have shifted dramatically in black's favor right now. So Nguyen actually might push in this position. And then we should also quickly check Anish's game. Because we left it after bishop b7. And after that, queen a5 was played by Liem. Trying to offer a queen trade. If you take, of course, knight takes a5. And then the white rook potentially jumping into c7, knight c6 is coming. This is looking good.
Yeah, good
So
move.
interesting
Queen F5.
move, yeah.
But I guess he won't take it. The question is, what will he do? Maybe rook c8 trading.
But rook c8, you lose the a6 control of the a6 pawn. So
Yeah, we can give it up, no?
you can give it up.
I mean,
you can give it up because it's not yours. But for Anish, I don't think he can give it up.
No, but imagine like many times we have seen like giving up that, but here maybe it's too much. Yeah, like
Especially because the queens are getting traded. Like
Yeah.
you're going into an endgame. Oh no. Oh, by the way, rook c8 e5, knight is hanging.
this is so. By the way, queen a5. He has to do something immediately about the knight here.
Yeah. So if maybe let's say you go bishop d5, trying to protect the knight on e5 as well as put pressure on the b3 pawn, could be a good move for black.
Okay, queen a5 attacking here, and
Already 39 minutes. Yeah, like the games are going so quickly that
Yeah.
we're already approaching some sort of a rapid time control now.
And look at Anish, he's about to make his move. I think he will take here the
No
queen.
way. I think he will go play bishop d5. No, you don't think so?
It looks like queen a5 just allows the knight.
He took?
No, he didn't take. He's still thinking. We can stay here for this critical moment.
Yeah, but is queen a5 a bad move?
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, I think bishop d5 should be found because you keep the pressure in the position. If you take on a5, knight a5, that just liberates the white's pieces completely. And this is going to be very, very good for white after knight a5, I think. So queen a5 and Anish still think, but it seems, yeah, it feels like he's about to make a move.
Sagnik Burman says checkmatel was amazing, Sagar. I solve it every day. Oh, guys, you can go and also check out checkmatel.com. It's a very interesting website to solve some very nice new
Puzzles,
game.
yeah.
New game.
Any other Praggnanandhaa took on c5, knight c5. So that has happened, by the way, just to...
We can go there in a bit.
Yeah.
Just waiting for Anish. But I think Anish got back into his thinking pose. He was about to make his move, but then decided to just wait.
You've seen Anish play a lot of events closely,
Yeah.
Sagar, but do you think his body language says anything about his position?
I don't know. I mean, Anish is so pragmatic as in general as a player. He is always very objective. So he understands when his position is bad. Here, he must be definitely thinking, if I can make a draw,
That would be
it's
great
a
success.
great result
Yeah.
for me. So he's not making his move. So we can wait here and come back. But I'm feeling this that this game of Sam Shankland versus Ediz Gurel.
Sam is threatening very, very sneakily to go queen to e5 and threaten mate on g7. So I think queen h2 move is just showing that he is preparing some queen e5 ideas, and f6 does weaken the e6 pawn long term. So I think that's what he wants to do right now. Create more weaknesses in black's position.
Meanwhile, Aravindh has gone queen d3 here. It's time for Van Nguyen to bring his bishop into the game.
Sagar bhai, this can be. I mean, I'm really not liking Arvind's chances right now, but he's at least playing fast, which is going in his favor. Do you think he should offer a draw now? Like, that's always a question, right? Like, when should you offer a draw?
Is there a move rule here in this tournament?
I'm not aware of that actually. There's no draw.
There's no draw rule, yeah?
So, yeah, that's always a question, right? Like, how bad should your position be in order for you to offer a draw?
But I think Van Nguyen is never going to take a draw here.
I mean, it's unclear. Like I think the true testament of a strong player is he knows when to, end the game, basically, before things get too bad.
But I don't think Arvind... I think he's reached a position where Van Nguyen now doesn't take a draw. Like he just...
You think so? Yeah, the position is so bad already.
I just like black's position, like bishop f8, b5. The moves of black are very natural.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I mean, if you think about it, white can go e4, right? Open up the position.
But when? Let's say, for example, I go bishop f8.
Okay, I go rook b1.
b5.
Okay, I go e4. Okay, I mean, we're fighting.
Yeah.
Like, you can see how a stronger player can perhaps equalize this position with white. And that's why I was thinking, like, let's say after queen d3, just try to offer a draw, yeah? See if your opponent accepts it. Okay, if he doesn't accept it, then we just play.
Yeah. I think Levon Aronian does that very smartly often. He often offers a draw when he knows that his opponent won't take it. And just so that to make the opponent feel overconfident. Yeah, bishop f8 on the board, guys.
Oh, by the way, rook b5 is not a good idea, right? Or what?
To stop b5.
Possible.
But I can go knight a3 and anyway.
And then I go rook b2. That was my idea. And b5 I go e4 again. Like, I just want to open the position somehow. So I want, that's why I'm desperately trying to push e4. The reason is that, guys, whenever you have two bishops, you always want to keep the position open. And right now the bishop on h3 really not doing a lot. So you want to reroute it
Oh,
somehow.
it happened. He was so quick. Van Nguyen not just played bishop f8. After rook b1, he even went bishop a3. Super quick.
But I mean, are we missing something?
Why?
Like rooks, like what is this concept? Like let's say rook c2. Ah, rook b6. Oh, that's the move that we were not looking at for a long time. The point is that if rook takes b6, queen takes b6, queen is jumping into b1, and forget about all those e4 ideas now because queen b1 and suddenly your position is in big problems. The rook cannot move, queen is hanging. This is actually turning out to be very. If rook b6 is his idea, which I'm sure it is, because you cannot go to rook d1, of course, Sagar Bhai, because knight b2 is going to lose you an exchange. So I think rook c2, rook b6 is going to follow. Rook c2 played, and I expect Nguyen to play rook b6 fairly quickly.
Wow. While we are analyzing this, a very interesting comment on our chat by Himang Ghosh, who is our mod, says a very interesting event is coming up on 1st of March. Completely free online event with a good prize fund.
Oh, great.
Harshit
Great
bhai, will you
opportunity.
play?
I'm not sure because I'm going to be here and perhaps I will play some of the
Harshit
side
bhai.
events here.
Oh, you will play side events in Prague festival?
Yeah, I mean, if I can, I would. Why not? Yeah.
What will you play? Which one? Like
So I'm-
freestyle. I think you will play.
I will play freestyle.
Have
I
you
will-
already signed up for Grenke
Not
Open
yet.
freestyle?
Not yet.
Why not?
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
I mean, what if it gets filled up?
It never gets filled up. They have a capacity for 2,000 players, Sagar bhai. It's the biggest
But
open
still,
tournament.
maybe you shouldn't risk it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
maybe you risk it so that we can commentate there.
Okay. So I will play that and also play Blitz Rapid because I
Here
love.
you will play Rapid and Blitz.
Yeah.
And what about Basque chess? There's also Basque chess. You have two boards to play against the same opponent.
Oh yeah, sure.
White on one board, black on another
Yeah,
board.
sure.
It's also nice.
Yeah.
So you have a full schedule, yeah, here. You have to commentate, you have to win tournaments.
Yes.
Okay, so by the way, Van Nguyen also
Rook
goes
B6.
rook b6.
Wang Yuan saying you're not the only one trying to win events. He's trying to win the Masters section right now. I am sure he has won. Has he won the Challengers?
Here, I'm not sure, yeah, but he just won Tata Steel
He
Challenger.
just won the Tata Steel Challengers. So
And that too in that last round game with Benjamin Bock.
he had to win
which
with
was
black.
just the incredible game. And that just showed me that Van Nguyen is such a fighter.
Yeah, and he knows when to take risks. That's not an easy thing to
Yeah.
develop. To know when to take risks, and in that game he had to take risks. He went on to do that and win the game and the tournament. Right now, Rook B6, and
He's better. But one game that I want you turn your attention to is Wei Yi versus Vincent Keymer. He took the pawn and Wei Yi just jumped with the knight.
he immediately played. Did you see him playing blitzing out knight f5?
Yeah, he's like Wei Yi is now only 10 minutes away from Vincent. And he wants to just chop off this bishop and get his rooks in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to prefer white or black here practically now because queen b7 being a huge blunder as we saw. Knight takes e3 and
It's
queen
too
d2 is
much,
going to
too
come
much.
in. But
Maybe queen d3.
but still, I mean, like let's say knight e3
fe
and
rook f2.
rook
Rook f2, maybe knight f4.
No, I wanted to think go bishop c6. But then you have knight f4, yeah? So what's the move for black in this position? Ah, rook f2, knight f4, rook d2 I have, yeah? And I'm getting my rook on the 7th rank and this looks very, very dangerous, yeah? Queen e4, queen c3 is also going to jump in.
Also, like now the white king looks a bit weak.
Yeah.
You know, we thought it was so genius of Vincent to go king f1, king g1.
But now, yeah, after knight f5, he has to be accurate actually in order to not get into trouble with these active rooks.
Yeah. Well, that's how difficult it is to beat a player like Wei Yi. And Vincent has to be very careful here.
I mean, he can get into trouble. I mean, we cannot neglect the possibility of black winning this game as well.
Absolutely. It's very sharp now. Bishop g5 maybe could also come in.
Oh, that's an interesting suggestion.
Yeah.
Can I go knight d6 now?
Attacking the queen
Yes.
and also attacking f2.
Exactly. And
Crazy.
if you go queen e5,
Queen e5.
I will chop chop and then go rook takes f2.
And then this is hanging.
Yeah, and perhaps we reach some sort of a liquidified endgame where it's around equal.
Okay, so this one
Let's say
very exciting, very
Exciting but
important
balanced
moment.
right
yeah.
now. Oh,
Oh,
Giri.
and Anish took the queen.
no, he
No,
played
he did not take. He played queen b8,
trying to go bishop d8.
queen c7.
But I don't think Liam is playing very ambitiously somehow. Because knight a5 and I mean although he's trying to attack the bishop, but maybe let's say just bishop d5 attacking the b2 pawn as well. The rook has opened up. Black's position feels like it got a lot more
I mean, if I had my pawn here, I could have always pushed you away.
exactly.
I just needed this. In fact, this move queen a5, instead of that f3 would have been so much better.
So much better. And then keeping the idea of putting the bishop on a5 as well, I think that was the key moment that Liam missed.
Yeah. Meanwhile, people are saying, can we have a look at Divya's game
Oh yeah.
in the challengers section? If we can quickly head over there, I think a very, very
What?
equalish.
What? No, look, what is this crazy position? The king on g1 is completely open. How did this happen? So after g4, she did play b5.
b5 with your
Very
idea,
nice.
bishop c4.
Yes.
E4.
D takes e3. F takes e3.
F
What?
Because I think bishop e3, he was afraid of knight jumping in.
Yeah, but like fe3 is like, it feels somehow not the best, right? Because after fe3, which happened in the game, bishop d5, bishop e2, f5, opening up the rook on f8, Divya, once she gets a dynamic possibility, she's not going to shy away from that fg4. And now look at this move.
Yeah, very beautiful, because the rook is active here, the bishop is active here.
Rook a4.
How do we activate this rook?
Amazing idea.
Beautiful.
And now rook g4 is a threat. Knight h2 played by Ivan, and
I don't like actually white's position in general, but it seems like it also has potential.
no, I mean the thing is like we don't like white's position, but at the same time the pawn on b5 is hanging, and if you exchange all the major pieces, I think that with two bishops, white should have a slight edge. Rook f4 is an idea for white, by the way, right now.
Yeah. Just moving up with the rook.
So knight h2, what does Divya do?
Because this pawn is hanging. We could go bishops.
Yeah, I was actually considering bishop c4 myself, but then I realized that white can play rook takes f8. She didn't. Rook takes f8.
Bishop
King
c4.
takes f8. And now bishop d1 is what I was afraid of. Followed by b3. Could be something that white would be happy
just
about.
Go back.
b3, let's say. And a4. But yeah, at the same time, black doesn't really have any weaknesses. So
Okay, so this is how things are, and in fact, there's one game where black is doing excellently in the challengers. It's Jonas Beer, whom we did see was completely better against Stamatis.
and he also has his opponent has 15 minutes.
Very less time.
Yeah,
on
I
the
think
clock.
this is just very tough to defend with 15 minutes. After knight d4, I mean the good thing is that let's say black goes castles. Let's say you go knight c6. I can just completely ignore you capturing my exchange. Like I'm pretty sure black can perhaps even make a move like what's a move for black? Let's
King
say
h7.
or knight c5 for example. And knight b8, just rook b8, and this is just like completely crushing for black because knight a4 is coming, and look at those pieces. Look at that bishop on g7 eyeing the b2 pawn. This looks very, very good
Yeah,
for
very
black.
very bad position for Stamatis here. So yeah, in the challengers, 2 games looking very, very good. One is Beer doing very well, and also Stalmack has a great position against Moritzi because of this nice pawn in the center, has also gained space.
And what a great opportunity for young players like Stalmack to prove what they can do in this event, playing against one of the best talents of the world. And many players might not have heard of Richard Stalmack, but it seems like he's a very, very good player.
Yeah,
He's,
he's an IM with 2440 rating. But this is what a super event can do in your country, no? Like it gives so many opportunities to
Young
local players.
Exactly.
So I think to develop kind of a festival like Prague Chess Festival is amazing. So kudos to the organizers, because they are not only giving opportunities in the Masters, but there are challengers, there's Futures Group, then the Open Tournament, then side events. You know, Harshit bhai, totally there are 17 events taking
Wow.
place here.
Yeah, it's incredible how the organizer has made sure that a chess lover can enjoy not just playing classical chess but also different formats of chess surrounding it. So, very, very exciting 2 weeks for sure. Arvind's game,
Not at all exciting.
not
for
at all exciting right now because Rook b6, he made this move Queen d1, and it just feels like, his position was completely pushed back.
If you think about this queen, it did go to b3, then came back, then went here, then came back.
It's trying to make a geometrical figure, but
It's not doing much.
yeah. And maybe I would even consider bringing my other rook into the game now. Do you like that idea?
Yeah, it's a very cool idea here. Sorry, rook a8 to a6, because this rook is not doing much at all.
Exactly. So you ask yourself in every position what piece of mine is not doing well, unless you have a direct plan. And right now, a rook on b8 is not, it could definitely be improved, which is why I came up with this idea of rook 8, just trying to
Fantastic.
bring one more
Great
piece in.
concept there, and I think this could be after take. You could also take and play rook 8.
Then I was a bit afraid that queen b5 and white gets some space, but the rook on c2 is just trapped. I didn't notice that let's say queen b5, queen c6, I can never trade my queen because the rook on c2 is like actually trapped. Like what?
And I can
Yeah,
just
you
come
took a
in.
rook b8, rook b1, yeah, and this is completely crushing. So, a very nice concept by Nguyen to go bishop a3 and knight c4 so that the rook on c2 has no squares.
Yeah. So I think for Arvind, the only hope is to create some play against this king here. Otherwise, he is getting busted on the queen side.
Did he play? Oh, he played rook takes b1. So he's going for this idea of rook 8, I think. I think queen b1, let's say, will happen quickly. Okay, played. And I think rook a8 is going to also be played fairly quickly. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. Rook 8 to a6 to b6.
Look, he's about, no, he plays b5.
Oh, that way, then maybe there is some hope, right? Because now,
Because b5, I mean, I thought that you want to keep the b line open for your rook, but Nguyen goes for a slightly different approach. He closes the position. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of this idea with black. I like rook 8, rook a6 more, to be honest.
yeah. And now, I mean, I want to go e4 somehow. Can I do it straight away?
And what if I take?
Somehow I'm just hoping like after take, my queen could end like rook e2, but there's f5, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit too ambitious
Too
to
much.
try and go for
Too
e4
much.
right now. But you can prepare it. Let's say after b5, you can go bishop g2, I guess. And prepare for e4. That could be an idea.
Yeah. Yeah, let's wait for what Arvind does next here. His position looking not so great, but has his chances. Meanwhile, David Navara has played his bishop to d3.
He really wants to exchange those bishops.
I don't understand this position so well. If you can explain it to us, like why is white even better here?
Well, I think that right now black has this pawn on d5, which is obviously not the best pawn.
Yeah.
And white has this concept of going rook d1.
Yeah.
Let's say you take. I really want to go g4 and g5 and put pressure on the knight on f6. And I think whenever I'm going to advance with my pawns on the king side, get space, move this knight away from f6, I think white's going to have a lot of potential against this weak d5 pawn. Whereas the pawn on c3 is kind of well covered. So I am expecting rook h d1 right now. Although after rook h d1, I have to say bishop e2. I don't know if I want to take with the knight or the king, Because
Yeah, I like knight takes also because it opens up the rook. to the
exactly.
pawn.
Also because after king e2, I'm a bit afraid that black can have this idea of knight a4 putting pressure on the c3 pawn, and it feels a little uncomfortable. Again, this rook can potentially, after king d2, come in with rook a6, rook b6, and
Yeah. By the way, Harshit, what do you think about us taking a small break
yes, sure.
before we continue? Because there is a lot of action happening, and it's been roughly
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours?
Yeah, it went by very, very quickly.
Wow. I never thought that we were commentating. I thought it was just 1 hour since we
No,
did
no.
that. So, guys, we will take a short break, and on the other side, we will then join in with all these exciting games going on.
Yes. See you soon.
Stay still, still by my side. So pretty and so kind.
I love your leather eyes, reflecting my clothes bright. You've got to be under your skin. I'm flying in a dream. I love your leather look, reflecting my love's good. I love your leather look. So pretty and so kind, forever.
Chess is a battle of minds, a game where every move shapes destiny. For centuries it has endured wars, revolutions, and the test of time. But in today's world of instant insights, one challenge remains. What if one game could change a tournament, but no one saw it coming? At the Chess Olympiad, teams fought for medals, yet the Swiss format and tiebreak system left everyone in the dark. Fans, players, even commentators. Other sports thrive on real-time stats. Chess? Not yet. A team of engineers, data scientists, and chess enthusiasts ask, what if you could change the game? What if AI could bring real-time clarity to chess? What if you could predict outcomes, calculate winning chances, and even foresee future parents? Now, we can.
Šachy jsou královská hra, stará více než 1000 let. Učí nás dovednostem, kterých se v dnešní překotně se rozvíjející společnosti nedostává. Učí nás trpělivosti v době, kdy je trendem chtít všechno hned. Učí nás plánovat, budovat strategii. Mimo jiné také rozvíjejí kritické myšlení, komunikaci, kreativitu a kooperaci. Svět kolem nás se neustále vyvíjí a mění. Společně s ním se mění i výukové metody a postupy. Hledají se především takové, které hravou formou propojí skutečný svět s tím digitálním. Je známo, že děti se prostřednictvím hry od malička přirozeně učí sociálnímu chování, rozpoznávání vzorců, řešení problémů, budují si sebevědomí a zlepšují paměť. A šachy jsou právě takovou hrou. Dají se hrát stejně dobře ve třídě, na lavičce v parku, jako ve virtuálním světě. Přesahují všechny hranice, věkové, jazykové, genderové, ekonomické, náboženské i kulturní. Hrají se ve 195 státech světa a vedou nás k tomu, abychom své výhry prožívali ušlechtile a prohry důstojně. Dejme dětem možnost nahlédnout do spravedlivého světa, ve kterém lze dosáhnout svého cíle čestně a podle předem daných pravidel. Naučme je hrát šachy. Šachy do škol rozhodně patří. 6 milionů dětí ve školách po celém světě je toho nejlepším důkazem.